Lost dead, level clear. Where do I go from here? Walk home.
Buddy, why? Oh my god, I really, really hate my OBS right now. I have genuinely no idea why it doesn't want to unmute me. But, guys, hey, what is going on? Welcome. It is Friday. We made it through another week, and I am here to hang out with you for another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. Guys, we are 2 weeks into January, and it's still kind of slow. We're still in that period where people are waking up from their post-holiday comas. Not everybody's, slowly trudging back to the office. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about what all your work schedules are out there, but I know at least for myself, this first week back is a little rough to get back into the swing of things. Isn't helped for me personally that I was super crazy hyper sick last week. So like all of that was just like that took me out. So I had to get the sickness and the holiday. Like I had to shake all that off and get back in the swing of things. But we're here. The site, boundingintocomics.com, it is running as smoothly as can be. We have a good, the mad, the ugly tonight, and I am very, very happy to hang out with you guys. Quick side note, this is there is a tech problem tonight, but this is genuinely not my fault. So I don't know how many of you guys out there use Stream Elements, but they did some sort of update in the last 24, 48 hours to their systems that completely revamped everything. Right? Like I opened up OBS today and all of my like chat layouts and stuff, all of it wasn't working anymore. So that's why we were a little late tonight. I had to try and see if I could fix that. But unfortunately, as you guys can see right here, I see Soccer in the chat. I see Andrew. I see Zero. I see Punk. What is going on? All of my friends. But unfortunately, it looks like we're probably not going to have our chat tonight because Stream Elements is being a bastard. So I apologize for the fact that we're probably not going to have the Stream Elements. I will fix that in the next week, either for this layout or it'll just get me off my butt to put the finishing touches on the new one. Either way, if you use Stream Elements for anything, whether that is, broadcasting or any sort of layout work, go check all your settings before your next big stream, because there is a good chance that unfortunately you're going to get a ding like this. And now it's just weird, right? Because what do I do here, guys? Let me put yourself in my seat. It's like, do I leave up the chat and hope that things all click into place and it looks all good and we can continue on without any worry? Do I do that? Or do I take it down? Because if I leave it up, sure, eventually we'll be able to see all of your beautiful chats. But right now, this looks really sad. It looks like for the last few, what did you say it was, Dozer? We're up to 57 shows now, even with the holiday special, with the New Year's special and all of the interim 51 shows. We're up to like 57 episodes. Imagine if we go 57 episodes where we've got this active chat, all of us are hanging out laughing, and then somebody comes up to this episode and they put it on and they're like, "Oh wow, he must have killed a baby because nobody is chatting today. Like everybody left this guy. This guy must have done something very, very terrible." So I think erring on the side of caution. What do you guys think? At least on this screen, it looks a little okay, right? It looks natural. It looks like I'm just talking to you face to face. But when we get to our other screens, it's gonna look weird because we're gonna have the like camera box, the stream buddy, blank. So what if anybody out there knows how to fix that like really easily off the top of their heads? I'd love to know if something we could do here. Let's do it. Otherwise, we'll catch you. Everybody will be back on the replay. All of my supporting cast here, you will be back on the show next week. You know what I mean? You'll be back on the screen. But aside from that, guys, even though it has been a little bit of a slower week, we still have a lot of stuff to talk about. There is a big update to what's going on over at Square Enix that we need to talk about in the sense of tempering down the hysteria, because they have a new customer harassment policy, and of course the internet is just running with whatever they with whatever they're doing, with whatever they look at it and they go, "Oh, it has to be this, it has to be that, yada yada yada." So we can talk about that a little bit. I do want to talk about, or at least touch upon it. It's obviously in the thumbnail, but Marvel Rivals is kicking butt. We'll just very, very quick glance over at that. And then if we have the time, if I get into a groove of things, I really want to talk about this idea that Spider-Man is supposed to be a youthful character. If you guys watched Foil Variant last night, you'll know that Andrew and I barely touched upon it. Or what do you call it? What's the term for that? Like we like grazed it or whatever, but we obviously didn't have the time. We were already at the limit of our show. We needed to sign off. So we'll talk about that here if we get into it. But aside from that, as always, guys, I want to hear from you. I want to talk to you. This show is not about me. It's not for me to just ramble on and on and on. I want to talk to you guys. I want to hear, let's talk about what you guys want to talk about. Let's get your guys' weekend off on a good start, because again, we deal with a bunch of crap all throughout the week. We owe it to ourselves. We deserve it to have a little bit of enjoyment. Yeah, look at that. We swung by the topic. Oh, and now stream it. And now, wow, did everything explode? Because now my comments aren't even popping up. I clicked Andrew's comment, and now that's, dude, what is happening over here? Here, let me fix this real quick. Because I'm so baffled at what's happening right now. Featured chat. That's what I want. That's the one I was working on. You guys, now do you see? I got this Uzaki chat box that I'm working on over here. Okay, it's not that one. Where? I'm like very, 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 very perturbed. Oh, dude, Jacob, not even joking. This is Boomer Mania on top of Boomer Mania. I don't know what happened. I was telling everybody I use Stream Elements for everything, and every plugin I use decided it didn't want to work. Well, at least the Stream Ninja one works if I want to use my Uzaki background. That's hilarious. Here, let me get rid of that real quick so that we can actually all hang out and see what I'm talking about. But man, that's really funny. I forgot that that's what I was working on. Unfortunately, guys, I didn't get this specific Uzaki layout to work, but I've got something similar in the works for layout 2.0. But that's very, very hilarious to me. All right, let's see. And now when I do that, it doesn't want to pop up anything. Let's see. Yeah, I'm really embarrassed right now. There's no way this should be this bad. You know what I mean, guys? Stream Ninja just doesn't want to hang out, does not want to help me tonight. And that's really, really a bit of a bitch, because how else am I supposed to let everybody know that I'm talking to you? Oh, look, it worked. Oh, I can get Sakura Mita on the screen. Look at that. Holy cow. I fixed it. Thank you for nothing, Stream Elements. I guess at least with the box gone, we can use this space for more comment, highlighting. All right. All right. All right. All right. Perfect. Dude, I pissed off somebody. Like, I genuinely have to have pissed off some god up there because there's no way. You all have seen this show. You've all seen Foil Variant. You know the kind of errors we normally run into. I even went out of my way, guys. I made sure that my volume on Windows side was cranked up before I started the show. So we're getting better here. But, dang. Okay, let's see. Now Timon says, stream is crackling. Lots of hiccups. Okay, I'm going to try something. We might stutter and drop for like a second, but we're still here, so don't go anywhere if I fade out, all right? Hang with me, guys. I just clicked the button. Let's see what happens. And I know I'm going to disappear for like a second. Okay, I think we're back. I think we're back in Craction. All right, all right. Yeah, all right, cool. Well, Andrew and Caveat Ties both say it's good for them. So, yeah, hopefully Timon, hopefully that took care of it. If not, if not, I recommend that both you and Zero just get on a boat and drift as close as you can to America to get real Wi-Fi. That's all I could really recommend at this moment in time. All right. I'm so glad that I got that fixed up. All right. But before we get into everything, as always, let's say hi to everybody who's already here. Just like we've got Andrew, we've got Zero, we've got Punk, we've got Caveat. We've also got Sakura. What's going on, buddy? Sorry I haven't been very active the last few days on Discord. Been dealing with a lot of stuff. Obviously work's been a little crazy with bounding, but as we all know, California is currently on fire. And, Mavlor, you all know this, but I am a California native. I still have a lot of family, very, very close friends out there, especially, and, some who are living in the heart of that. So I've been between work, checking in on people, coordinating help, getting supplies and stuff. So bit of a run of a week. So not ignoring you, Sakura, just been super busy. But Sakura says, do you want to talk about Hasbro overall? I mean, we could, but here's the thing. Is there anything new to talk about? We've talked about Hasbro and their failures for the last every week, right? Because they just keep dropping the ball. They just keep doing it. The latest thing we heard, I guess we could talk about Transformers, that video game. I guess we can talk about that failure. That's something. But the bottom line of it is that this company is probably not long for this world. But that's a good topic. Let's throw that on there. We'll talk about Transformers, Sakura. Let's see. Yeah, we have Jacob. That's something else we might touch upon, Sakura, the Assassin's Creed Shadows controversy. The only problem is I don't really care about this game. Like, yeah, we've got all the controversies and it's very popcorn, it's a popcorn flick to watch Ubisoft self-immolate. But I just feel like everything that's been said about Assassin's Creed has been said. I don't know what you're going to get out of this month-long delay. There are some people out there who believe that the new release date of March 20th, because remember, it was coming out on February 14th. Now it's coming out on March 20th. There are some people out there, including my good friend Cider, my boy over at Bounding Into Comics. He put up a video with his thoughts on this today onto the channel. But a lot of people are, going, oh my God, Ubisoft, I cannot believe you put the new Assassin's Creed Shadows release date on the anniversary date of the Tokyo sarin gas attacks from the Aum Shinrikyo cult back in the 90s. And I don't get that, sentiment. To me, every date on the planet, I can find something awful that happened right here. What is today? Today is January 10th. Let's just throw that into, let's go to Wikipedia. Let's see what happened on Wikipedia on January 10th. And we'll go in the 90s, right? Or we'll go in the 19th, or what is it, the 20th, 21st century. So let's see. What bad things? We've got first Texas oil gusher. That's not a bad thing. That's good for America. Highway signs. Okay, there we go. 2012, right? A bombing at Jamrud in Pakistan kills at least 30 people and injures 78 others. Next year, more than 100 people are killed and 270 injured in several bomb blasts in Pakistan, right? 2015, a traffic accident between a oil tanker and a passenger coach in... Why is everything going wrong in Pakistan? But in Pakistan, blows up, kills 62 people. Bad things happen all over the place, right? I don't think anybody out there is sitting down and going, I'm going to directly put this game on this really tragic date. To me, it's a bit of a stretch. I can understand why people view it that way. But to me, that's just, I don't have an opinion. That's not anything to me. I don't agree with it. I don't think that that's what's happening. Again, they threw it into February. They got harangued for, oh, you're doing it in Black History Month, right? Like, you're not going to win. Here, in fact, what was the original date? Original Ass Shadows release date. Let's look that up. It was November 15th. So let's look up November 15th. Let's see what happens there. We'll go into the 20th century again. 1922. At least 300 are massacred during a general strike in Ecuador. 1943, Heinrich Himmler orders that gypsies are to suffer the same treatment as Jewish people during the Holocaust. I don't know what words are going to get me dinged anymore because YouTube is a stupid platform, but who cares? What else do we have? We have, let's see. We have a plane crash in Sri Lanka. 1979 was... On that day in 1979, Ted Kaczynski tried to bomb a plane. Like, there are bad things everywhere. And to me, that if you're going after Assassin's Creed for their dates, that's just losing the plot. Now you're just trying to find things to, harangue them for. And I think there's enough that we can use right now that I personally just don't see any connection here. But that's really all I have to say about that game. I don't think that game is going to do well at all. This continual delay is not great. And there was a statement here. I'm going to read the statement to you guys because with the delay announcement of Assassin's Creed, we also got so there was the public facing one that we all saw on the Assassin's Creed Twitter account. Pardon me, hold on. Oof, excuse me. Oof, again. And then for the investors, Yves Guillemot, or the company, also released another very, very more corporate focused statement talking about percentages and stuff. But pardon me again, goodness. Sorry, I was just looking for the exact part of the statement. But the company put out a corporate investor statement, and in it, Yves Guillemot has this quote, and he says, he's talking about what they're doing right now. They're trying to recover the company's funds and reputation and all that. So he tells the investors, quote, "We have taken decisive steps to reshape the group," which is Ubisoft, "in order to deliver best-in-class player experiences, enhance operational efficiency, and maximize value creation. We also recently appointed leading advisors and are actively exploring various strategic and capitalistic options to unlock the full value potential of our assets. We are convinced there are several potential paths to generate value from Ubisoft's assets and franchises." That statement sucks because nothing there says, oh, we're going to make good video games. Anytime, the corporatization of all of our hobbies is one of the worst things to happen because this is what we've been talking about here and on Foil Variant and on Andrew's Saturday stream, just everywhere that, you can find me hanging out and Andrew. It's like these companies are too focused on, oh, we have to make that line go up. We're beholden to our investors to give them more money rather than create art or deliver something that players will want to enjoy. And that is the big fundamental problem here, is that it's too profit oriented. So they go, oh, we got to make everything super safe. That's why we get all these checkbox game, designs. This is why we get all this DLC and microtransactions, because it's all about money now, more so than it ever was before. And guys, I get it. I know that you know, if you make a game, you got to make money. Of course, I understand that. But I also understand that there's a difference between maximizing profit and making a successful game. And the latter is very, very, very rarely happening, and it's not happening out of AAA developers. The fact that we got Marvel Rivals is a damn outlier. Like it is. NetEase is a AAA developer, but it's insane that we got a game that, at least thus far, is treating its players with respect. It really wants to deliver on an aesthetic, on a visual experience. The video game industry, again, it's cooked right now, and I desperately want to crash. My heart will go out to every individual dev who was affected, but these corporate stooges, they need to learn their lessons, essentially. They're not. That's why every time something fails, you just go, okay, we're going to do it again because this one's going to get us $4 billion. And it never does, and we all suffer for it. It's a bad deal, Sakura. Timon is here. What's going on, buddy? It's not a show without you. Flex, hey, what's going on, Flex? Flex says Old Man Spidey, but it's Ezekiel Sims. So I'm a little bit tired of the... Okay, wait. Let me preface this because I'm going to offer one criticism, but I'm not against this idea. I just need to get this thought off the top of my head. I'm kind of tired of like the old man storytelling out of Marvel, because ever since Old Man Logan was fun, they've tried that with Old Man Hawkeye, Old Man Quill. I think there was like a Kamala one where she was older, and it's just like, never underestimate the comic book industry's ability to take a cool idea and run that shit directly into the core of the earth, right? I bring it up all the time. That first Spider-Verse event, I lost my mind. That was everything I ever wanted. I got all these different spider people who I've seen throughout all the years teaming up to come together and fight. And I thought that was amazing. But now we are like 10 years removed from that. And all they do now is just, here's a new Spider-Verse event where we're making a bunch of OCs and they're going to have some really random dumb plot. It's just, okay, I don't care. I don't care about Webweaver, who's not even like a Peter Parker. Again, nowadays the Spider people are just your OC. Like I said, they're your OCs. They're just random person gets spider powers. It's not, it misses the essence of Spider-Man. But you know what? If we talk about that, we could talk about that specific bit when we talk about Spider-Man. But as to the Ezekiel Sims bit, I'm in the rare camp where I actually didn't hate all that Spider Totem stuff, and I didn't hate Ezekiel Sims as like a concept or a character. I could get behind it if it was a alternate universe where like Peter didn't make it. I don't know why. We've seen him before. But for some reason, maybe the spider never bit him, or maybe it bit him and the bite went wrong or something. I don't know. But I wouldn't mind seeing like Ezekiel headline a solo book where he's sort of a hardened spider person in the far, far future or something. Make it not an Elseworlds, but like an alternate universe thing, a mini. I think that could be cool. But then again, I just know that the second they do that, man, that Ezekiel's going into a Spider-Verse book. They cannot help themselves, right? All right, let's see. Let's keep catching up. Yes, we know you guys have good internet. We're just giving you shit because you're Brazilian. That's literally what it is. Oh yeah, Zero. Yeah. Oh yeah, is your family all right? Yeah, my family, and I actually don't think I confirmed that. Yes, my family is all okay. My friends, two of my closest friends, my college roommates, they live in LA still. They have evacuated. One of them, their house is like in a zone that is not under containment at all. So we've all been on edge all day worrying about his place. My other roommate, good best friend, she's good. Her and her boyfriend are safe. My family is being Filipino about it all, where, you know, they will not leave the house until like they get forcibly removed by a law enforcement authority. And even then they'll be like, I would have been fine. It doesn't matter. I could have handled that. You don't know how we do things. So they're being crotchety, but that's just that's just a day ending in Y for my family. So yes, thank you, Zero. Everybody is okay for now. Let's hope it stays that way. It is, as somebody who grew up out there, who knows the conditions, who has been in wildfires before, if you want to hear more about this stuff, you can go check out Wednesday night's 01 stream, where Jacob and I, two California natives, we, broke down our experiences with all this stuff. This stuff is crazy. This is one that I don't want to use the term biblical, because too many people out there are going, oh, look, modern day Sodom and Gomorrah is getting wiped off the earth. And I'm like, no, guys, that's such a bullshit rhetoric, because like that, there are still like people on your side who live out there, right? Like California has very big red pockets, if you want to go with that bent. California has a lot of, Christians, especially with their Mexican and Asian populations. So like, remember in the parable, and you know what? Shout out to Declan Finn, who he came up on my feed earlier today, and this is where I got this argument, and it made, it kind of opened up my eyes and was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So Declan is obviously a very religious person. He is I believe he's Catholic. If not Catholic, he's Christian. But he was talking on Twitter about like all of you people who are cheering like how like it's so disgusting. He was kind of saying what we all are. And somebody, pointed out like, well, it's Californians' fault if they're still there. You should have known better by now, blah, blah, blah. And Declan kind of tore into the guy and, talking about like friends, family, life. It's not just easy to uproot. And then he hits him with like, you are the kind of person who, if you'd have found, if there was even one person in Sodom and Gomorrah who was a good person, you still would have nuked it. And if you guys remember that parable, it was, Lot, God said, Lot, I'm going to annihilate these two cities because they're just wicked and full of sin, unless y'all can show me somebody who is not. The only reason he nuked them is because nobody was there. But if they'd have found one, he'd have been okay. So I'm really, really just tired of the constant like do something just to own the other side. Everything now is everybody wants to fight. Everybody is overly combative. Nobody can just say like, oh, that's tragic. Everything has to be, oh, you're infringing against me. Oh, you're insulting. Like and I'm sick of this shit. We've talked about this before. This is why I don't do internet drama. This is why I don't do YouTuber. I don't care about any of this stuff because I've got better things to do. I've got comic books to read. I've got Gunpla to build. I've got Toku to watch. I don't need to try and fluff my own ego for the internet. I'm not that kind of person. Nerdigans is not anywhere close to that. For those of you who know her, she's in up north. She's up near like San Francisco, so she is completely okay. She's fine. Thank goodness. Hey, it's Corey. Hey. Oh wait, no, I was gonna say, hey, Andrew's not here. It can't be double gay. But then I remembered the other night you were like, it's double gay, and not because of him. Zero says, I mean, it's funny that Ubisoft can't even pick a date without it being part of some controversy, but yeah, it's a nothing burger. And yeah, I saw Cider's reaction. If this was if people were reacting in a way that was like, oh, wow, that's a bad coincidence, right? Like, geez, you guys stepped in it. We would be having a different conversation. But, a lot of people are going, oh, you guys did this on purpose, or you didn't care enough. And it's like, guys, things sometimes just fuck up. It happens to all of us. And so again, I'm not defending Ubisoft. I don't think this game is going to do well. I don't like any of the games they are currently producing. You've all heard me. I've railed into them forever. I just railed into them for being corporate. But sometimes, again, you got to pick your battles so that people can take you seriously, essentially. If you're yelling and going off about every little thing, people are just going to go, oh, you're a boy who cried wolf. That's why you have to be pointed and, make your shots count instead of just open firing at every possible thing that could maybe get you, I guess, a like. I know a lot of this is for like internet attention and clout because the entire thing with our brains, and that dopamine hit is just the current dystopia we're in. But I'd like to think we can all do better, like as a society. Like we can be a little more compassionate. We can be a little, kinder to each other. We can all breathe, because someday the shoe's going to be on the other foot. We'll be in trouble, and it's not going to feel great when we get mocked. But then again, now it's just a cycle where you go, oh, you made fun of me, I have to make fun of you. You did this to me, then I should be able to do this to you. At some point, we have to be bigger people and go, all right, I'm moving on. I'm not going to actively fight you, but we're not friends or whatever, but I'm just moving on. Right? Like, imagine if we all had people we argued or fought with in high school or college. Imagine if we were still fighting with them today about arguments from back then. Everybody would look at you like, what are you doing? Why are you so hard-assed about this? So, I mean, that's the entire reason we have this show, is just a little more positivity, or if not positivity, a little more just like laugh at the overall situation of it, instead of trying to make moral and character judgments about everything based on all of that stuff, right? For example, there was an amazing moment the other night on 01 where I completely fucked up, because we were talking about stuff, and Jacob made a joke about George Floyd, Cider made a joke about George Floyd, and Jacob went, or one of those two guys made the joke about it, and then I was like, oh no, it's not George Floyd, it's that other guy, and I was trying to think up of another just like GF name, right? I got a bunch of like good, and I was trying to think of a black guy name, so I went with a bunch of like good ones with G, with like Greg and all that stuff, and then I went for a last name. And I, being on the stream at the time and under pressure, I couldn't think of any good, like, black guy last names that start with an F outside of Floyd. So on the stream, I go, dang it, Jacob, I was just thinking really hard right now. And I came to the conclusion that there are just no good black people last names. And it wasn't like, it was just one of those times when I paused for just a little too long for no reason. And all of us cracked up, and all of us were dying about it. And I would love for everybody to laugh at that and be like, man, he really, we all recognize that was an error, but boy, was that an error. It would piss me off if everybody went, oh, look, he is racist. Do you see what he did there? Oh, it doesn't matter if it was an accident. That just means that was the truth of what he wants. And it's just like, breathe, everybody. And Timon asks, I know you're asking Zero, but Timon asks, will Assassin's Creed Shadows ever be released? I'm going to weigh in here and say, if it doesn't hit this next date, we're not seeing this game. Like, the delay of 6 months was already pretty impressive for a major AAA game, especially out of a company who genuinely doesn't give a shit about their products lately. But if it gets another, now that it has a month delay, if it gets another one after that, that's going to be the floor will fall out from there, and you're just going to start getting more and more and more and more delays. We talked about this during the Concord thing, remember? Because they with Concord, they invested like $400,000 or like $200,000 into that. The first build was awful. They didn't like it after like 8 months of development. But instead of, going back to the drawing board in any capacity, Firewalk Studios and Sony just threw more money at it and said, make it prettier. Just make it better. Well, it doesn't matter how much makeup you put on a pig, it's still going to be a pig. And so at some point, and my fellow creatives in here, I know like Andrew will know this. At some point, you've just got to let your product out there. Sometimes we all write a story or we do something and we're like, this is not my greatest work. This is not going to get a bunch of praise, but tinkering with it isn't even going to help. So at this point, it's better to just let it out and move on and take your hits and learn and go. We know that that's not really, for some reason, they think that they can just throw money at it until everything looks pretty enough and everybody will buy it. It's not going to happen. So this is turning into one of those ones that I think will be like, you guys just got to let it go, because there's no amount of polish you can really put on this game that's going to substantially change what everybody thinks about it, right? At this point, unless you are wholesale reworking the narrative, you're not making. Yes, it might play better, and it might not be as Ubisoft jank as most of your more recent titles, but the core game is still going to be disappointing, to say the least, and people still aren't going to want to check it out. So it's going to be interesting to see. My bets right now are that it does hit this March date, but it's not going to do fantastic. It's going to be bad. Let's see. Oh yeah, Zero says, I mean, it's just plain hilarity to me because at this point they're either picking these dates on purpose or the game is just that cursed. And that's exactly what I mean, Zero. I'd much rather more of us go, oh, this game is just cursed, and all laugh at that, and even be able to go to, like, back in the day, we all could have laughed at that. Somebody, 2 years late, like proto Jeff Keighley, when he was still a reporter, he could have gone over to Ubisoft, and when they're interviewing for their next game, he could have said something like, "So, you saw, like, that was a crapshoot that for the date you picked for Shadows, huh?" And the studio could all go like, "Dude, you have no, like, we messed up," and we could all have a good laugh. Instead, now it's like the studio has to defend themselves because everybody is defaulting to, "You did this on purpose," and now it's like, we didn't. If they did, that's a massive, like, that would be such an outlier case that even if you wrote it into fiction, everybody would be like, you're too on the nose. This is embarrassing. So to me, I would encourage more people to look at, just, wow, that is a crappy, like, that was a bad roll of the die, buddy. Like, oof, rough. Who is it in Avatar: The Last Airbender who says that? Is that Toph? He's like, ooh, that's rough, buddy. Or is that Sokka? I don't remember, but that's what I've got stuck in my head into this. Pardon me. Yeah, and as Andrew points out here, that wasn't deliberate malice. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, right? That's what the DE is also releasing on that same day. Is Monolith, a Japanese company, also now trying to disrespect the Japanese. There's that game. There's Monster Hunter Wilds, which is, I don't think it's that same day, but I think it's within the same week, like 2-week window of February 14th, the original Assassin's Creed, the second Assassin's Creed Shadows release date. And yes, that's exactly what I mean, right, Andrew? Is like all of these, this is just a coincidence. Oh, and okay. A lot of the art, and this is not, I'm not pushing back against you, Andrew. I'm just sort of going back to give some context so I can inform everybody properly. But a lot of this, you've picked this date where a bunch of Japanese people died. A lot of people are on that bent because in the game, in Shadows, you play as Yasuke and you will fight Japanese people. And so a lot of people have taken that as, oh, you're going to be a black guy just going in and killing a bunch of Japanese people. And it's like, okay, maybe we could have a conversation about that, especially in the era of, I joke about this a lot, but it's still something I'm very serious about, like if we were to have a real discussion. But if you guys recall back, what was it, like 2016, 2018, that period, there was the Stop Appy Hate, like the AAPI hate campaign for Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders, because at the time, we were getting randomly assaulted out the butt, especially if I don't know how many of you guys, I might be a little more tuned in because at the time I was still, I get California news because of where I grew up, from my friends, my feeds, all that fun stuff. So I was seeing a new one of these every day in either LA, San Diego, even San Francisco, San Jose, all these places. And so it was a crazy time. But then once we started finding the perpetrators, which happened to lean very heavily black, narrative went away. And it's bullshit because there needs to be a genuine discussion, not just about, like, there is this liberal idea that all minorities love each other, that there's white people who are all evil and mean to minorities, and minorities are all a Benetton ad running around in a circle going la 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 la. No. Not only do other races also hate each other, but we hate, like, other races hate people who live on the other side of the street, right? Like, I've got family in the Philippines who despise people from, like, a neighborhood over, just because they're from the neighborhood over. It's it is a bonkers dynamic. And in terms of black people and Asians, there is a very, very long turmoil between those two groups on racial lines. It's a lot to get into right here. This isn't a sociology show, so I'm not going to bore you guys with all the details of what I know, but it's a genuine discussion that has to be talked about why do the black on Asian aggression and then the Asian on black aggression, but nobody's going to do it because it blows up all of those narratives. I don't even remember why I was going there, but more to the point, with Shadows, yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. With Shadows, we could talk about, Yasuke being the character and what that might imply, but I don't genuinely think, nobody's out here trying to directly go, oh, let's kill a bunch of Asian people. It's a very alarmist way to view things. And it's like, hey, even if if the protagonist was, let's just say Naue, or let's say it was just a straight up Asian samurai guy, right? Well, now you have an Asian killing other Asians, releasing on the date where a Japanese person tried to kill a bunch of other Japanese person. I can make the same inference right there, just like Andrew's pointing out, right? So we need to start looking at context and accepting that not everything is this big thing that nobody ever saw, right? There is a big problem right now on social media where everybody thinks that they are a main character, that they are super important, that everything, oh, I found this thing in a screenshot that the government didn't find and nobody else found, but I did. Come on, guys. Life is not an action movie. And too many people have been poisoned by what they see in the media, and not just in for example, again, there are a lot of people complaining about, oh my God, why isn't, there are some Starbucks and stuff that are still open in LA because they're nowhere near the fire zone. They are miles out of it. They can still see the red, sky, and they can still see the smoke, and occasionally some ash might rain down, but that's just what happens when a fire happens, no matter how giant or whatever. People online are going, oh my God, I can't believe Starbucks is such a shameful company forcing its employees and putting them at risk like this. And it's like, these people clearly don't understand how big LA is or what LA is. They hear LA is on fire and they think Hollywood is LA, and they think that's all gone now because that's what they see in movies. And so it's just, people need to breathe more, and people need to stop trying to force themselves into being popular, which is a lot of what we see. I'm not going to go on an anti-Elon Musk rant like I would normally do, but ever since Elon took over Twitter, that's what we see a lot of, especially with the paid verification getting boosted and profits and all that. It's just this awful competition for attention, regardless of whether it's true, regardless of whether it makes sense. And I'm personally tired of it. That's why I try to do right by you guys, whether it's here, foil variant, bounding into comics. If you read something from me, if whatever, I will always do my best to provide you all with the context, to provide you with everything you need to make up your minds. So if you see something from me that sounds like, wow, that's egregious, that's when you should be like, wow, that is really fucking egregious. Because most of the time I will use language that says, let's breathe. Let's think for a second. Yeah, no, Zero, we're not talking about, nobody is saying you're outraged. We're talking in a general. We're talking in the royal we. Oh yeah, so we're, I'm catching up here, but yeah, so in terms of Yves Guillemot's statement, Andrew points out, wow, this thing is all misaligned now. Fly, up. That's a lot of business jargon that amounts to nothing. That's saying words without saying anything. And that's becoming such a trend, right? One of my favorite, it was a late entry, but one of my favorite contenders, or one of the big contenders for my favorite social media post of the year was last year in right after Christmas, right before New Year's, The Rock made a tweet where he was like Red One was bombing his new Christmas movie, and everybody knew it, and it was the talk of all the entertainment sites. And The Rock came out and made a tweet where he's like, Oh man, I gotta quote it because it's so bad. Well, that's the thing. Zero is like, yes, Ubisoft is in full sunk cost mode, but you can smart business sense can you can determine like. All right, hold on. What am I trying to say here? Because I don't want to I'm like confusing myself. Yes, Ubisoft is in full sunk cost at this point, but you don't need to keep throwing money onto that pile. When we talk about sunk cost, that means whatever entity has already accepted, I'm losing this much money. Right now, they're going, we're losing this much money, but maybe we can lose less if we throw money into it. You know what it sounds like? And this sounds really bad because I know a lot of people like that. We all do. We've all seen it. People who either do like sports betting or play the stock market and they go, oh no, I lost a bunch of money here, but I can make it all back if I make this one play. And it's like, dude, no, maybe just accept you didn't win this one, step back, start from like zero in a couple months. Like, nope, not going to do that. I'm going to stick right where I am. It's very bad. It's very bad. But in terms of the Rock tweet, so do I yeah, I might as well we'll hop over to the web talk window so we can all look at this. So this is the tweet from The Rock that he put out about Red 1. Our little Christmas movie, Red 1, shattered a viewing record for the Amazon Prime Video with 50 million viewers this past weekend. Red 1 has a very long shelf life with multiple verticals. Kudos to our Amazon partners for their strategic win. That's just getting started. Like this, guys, this is the most corporate cope statement. I love when a video game has multiple verticals. You know what my Sonic the Hedgehog 3, multiple verticals last year. It was crazy. Spider-Man No Way Home, I'm so glad that was a good year-over-year profit winner. Like, this is the kind of talk that doesn't help anybody, and this only matters to the dipshits up there in the boardrooms. This is what they want to hear. This means nothing to us because you can put all the bells and whistles on, for example, like take Skull and Bones. You can put all the bells and whistles. You can build all the hype you want. You can say, we've got so many plans for this thing to go. And when it comes out, if it's shit, none of that marketing hype, no calling something a quadruple A game is going to save it from being an absolute, from audiences going, this sucks butt, right? So yeah, that's just what you reminded me of, Andrew. It is a lot of business jargon and it does not help anybody. Now you're just like here in the middle. Although, you know what we can do? We can use this space now for comments. That's kind of neat. Even though if I like aligned it with everything, it would definitely make it too low for anybody to read. So I think that looks pretty good. And obviously, it's probably going to move around as the stream continues because I'm still mad at Stream Elements. Can you tell I'm still bitter at Stream Elements? Like, if it was my wife, I would be giving it the cold shoulder for, 30 minutes later tonight. Oh, hey, Shinkai is here. What's going on, buddy? Shinkai says that statement is just, and he's referring to the previous one from Yves Guillemot. That statement is just a student trying to meet the word minimum for an essay. Summarized to, we are doing stuff, more money, please. It's funny you bring that up. I want to, oh man, who was it? I gotta find the article because it was so funny. Oh man. All right, I don't have it off the at the tip of my fingers. I thought I had the link. I don't remember which outlet I was looking at, but we can here. What do we want to look at instead of The Rock being stupid? Let's go to bounding. I guess since we're talking about this, we can just throw this up here, and this can be our visual. Woo! There we go. What up, Ryan? Shout out to Ryan Pearson, our video game guy over there at Bounding. So yesterday when they made this announcement, Yves Guillemot, they also, and the rest of the board, they also held a, what do you call that? Like a call, an investor's call, so that they could talk about this and answer questions. During the call, a bunch of analysts from like JP Morgan Stanley, they're asking Yves like, can you tell us like what exactly you're doing? And he dodges around it so much. Oh man, it's come on. I want to read it to you guys because it is so genuinely funny how. Okay, here it is. Here is this the yeah. Okay, so this came out of IGN. It's a really good article, and I'll give a shout out to IGN. They actually went and they listened to the phone call because there's no transcript of it, or at least there wasn't at the time. But where was it? Yeah, so they talked about the press release we talked about. They gave them the same sort of canned statement, said we're working on Assassin's Creed, and then we got some so then a Morgan Stanley representative, which I'll highlight it and then I'll blow it up so that we can see it. So one investor who was there during the meeting from Morgan Stanley asked, quote, on the various transformation, strategic and capitalistic options, it's a bit of a vague phrase, if you don't mind me saying. Could you perhaps elaborate on the kind of things you're talking about? And perhaps particularly, there were press reports of detailed discussions with Tencent that were reported on in December. And that's the side note, that's the whole buyout thing that we've all been hearing about. Should we read that there is now some sort of proposal which the independent board members are going to review against other options? Or is that not what you meant by that? And then Duget, what is his role again? It's the CFO of Ubisoft, Frederick Duget. He replied with he really dodged. He goes like, if you thought Shinkai, where's Shinkai? If you and Andrew thought the statement we just read from Eves was bad, check out this one from the CFO. Quote, the objective of this process is to unlock the best value potential of our assets to the benefit of our shareholders and to foster the best conditions to create games in the fast evolving market. That's the overall objective. So that's why we mentioned that we appointed leading advisors. So we are currently actively exploring different options, and we can't say more. Of course, we won't comment on specific rumors we have seen in the market, but we are convinced that there are several potential paths to generate value from Ubisoft assets and franchises. We will inform the market if and when a transaction materializes. Nothing. Absolute, matrix dodging that question. Like, that is corporate bullshitting in its finest. Not only does he give that generic bullshit that I was complaining about, where it's like, oh yes, we'll work to optimize value of our assets. But then he's just saying like, we won't comment, but there are several. It's nothing. It is so vague. So another, so that same analyst followed up. He was like, I'm not taking that. So he said, he asked if they could confirm whether, quote, whether there are any concrete courses of action or scenarios that are being considered, or is this more of an exploratory kind of process? And Duget just shot back, we are limited with what we can say today, but we've started a process. Fucking nothing coming out of these guys, dude. Like, this confirms to me that they are shitting their pants at the top. They are chickens running with their heads cut off because they can't give any concrete answer about what they're doing. None of their games are succeeding. Every game they have released in the past almost 2 years, I actually think it might factually be 2 years, has done they've all crashed. They've all burned. I think, and you know what? I'll even give Ubisoft a compliment. They even put out a really, really good game. That Prince of Persia game from last year for the Switch, that is some damn fine Metroidvania-ing. I really, really like that game. But it didn't do hot, so they shut down the studio, and now here we are trying to make sure Assassin's Creed Shadows can, win big for all of us. They're putting all their eggs in one basket, and that never works out. They just released an NFT game in 2024. Like, I am losing my absolute mind at how badly this company is being mismanaged. My good boy Jonas J. Campbell, over at That Park Place, That Game Place, when I was on That Game Place on Tuesday, we talked about sort of, this obviously hadn't happened yet, but we were talking about the overall disaster that was going on with Ubisoft, where they sort of stood after the holidays. And Jonas put it, he's like, I don't even think like they like games. They probably played video games once in the 80s and went, this is neat, and then just took it to the business side. And so it's just, it's such a perfect example of where we are, of how bad everything is, and it really is going to be a big litmus test for where the industry goes forward. um, oh man, this is a little bit behind, but Andrew says we get a new Spider-Verse event annually now, dude. Have we talked about the new one that's coming? Where? Oh, frick. I was just the other day. I was like staring at the preview because it's really stupid. Well, Spider-Verse event, Marvel, and they'll show me the new one because it's stupid. I guess we'll use. God, these are all awful sites, but superhero hype is at least at the top. Oh, you don't even give me. Oh, Bounding into Comics will always give you images. We will always give you direct links. Fuck it, like websites like this. I am very mad about that. Spider-Verse versus Venomverse. That's what it is. That's the new one that's coming. And I'm just bored. Like, remember what we were talking about? I don't know if we were talking about it tonight or last week or recently, but we talk about it a lot. Marvel's like what if stuff or their multiverse stuff. It's not based on a character or a scenario anymore. It's just what if this character was that character. And that's what this event is. We get what if like Dracula was Spider-Man, what if Hulk was Spider-Man, and what if Prowler, or like what if Miles was a Prowler styled Spider-Man, and then they're going to fight against a Venom, a Rat Venom, and then a Kid Venom. Like, it's so boring. It's not fun. It reads like a bad like web comic that a 14-year-old does of her Spider-Sona because she's just trying to be creative. I don't know. It's going to be, who's even writing this garbage? Matt Grom, Jordan Morris, Greg Pak, and Chris Eliopoulos. I don't know any of you guys. I know Greg Pak, you're fine, but the rest of you guys, I don't really have any faith in this. Like, I'm not even going to pick this up through my Pakistani boy, right? Like, I do not care about this. It's just so bad. Yeah, Shinkai says, when is comics run an idea to the ground? Spider-Man 2099, Punisher 2099, Doom 2099. I at least give the 2099 like a pass because at least it's like a different thing, right? It's like, what if we're in the future and all those heroes are dead and what happens after that? That's a good premise. It's not just, what if there's another Spider-Man, but this time he needs glasses. Okay, we're going to do another Spider-Verse, and this time that Spider-Man who needs glasses is going to be the main character. You know what I mean? Like, you are right, Shinkai, but there is, at least, maybe it's just me being a little 2099 fanboy, which I am, of the entire line, not just Spidey. But I will give 2099 a pass. Yeah, exactly, Timon. 2099 became a future of the past, like the Jetsons is a future from the view of the 50s, 60s. It makes me sad, though. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, you look at Batman Beyond and Spider-Man 2099, and you're like, that's what the 90s thought that the late 2000s was going to be. And instead, we don't have cool, like, electric board suits, right? We don't have hover bikes or like, Coruscant-style sprawling cities where all the traffic lanes are in the sky. We don't have that. You know what we have? We have Cybertrucks that like fail when it gets too cold. And even fine. You know what? I'll be fair. I won't even take a swing at Elon. We have electric vehicles that can barely last like 20 miles. Like, we're not doing hot right now. It's and I don't want to like go too much into this, but there's an interesting phenomena to this, Timon, which is not specifically what you said, but more to like what I was saying, which is we need to go back to the era where like sci-fi was sort of hopeful and aspirational, right? Things like early Heinlein, early Scalzi. Oh my gosh, what is I have the like example at the top of my head and it's like blanking super hard, but like early Star Trek, things where the future seemed like it was like we had made progress. Because when you do that, when the media is reinforcing like the future can be hopeful, that's going to make, younger people and people who aren't like us, who still have dreams and aspirations and hopes, it's going to make them go, I could get us there. I want to get us there. Let's go towards that future. Like, that is what I want. I see your thing, Shinkai. We'll definitely watch that in a second. But if you notice, like, sometime around the like early 2000s, a lot of our sci-fi became the doom and gloom. Everything is going to be bad. We're all going to go Blade Runner. We're all going to go, Escape from New York. And yes, I know those movies were earlier, but that was the themes we were getting, that all the cities were going to be run over with riots and gangsters, and nobody would be safe, and everybody would be beholden to the government. And it's like, those are good stories, especially in the term of like, sort of like a beware of where your actions take you sort of tales, right? I'm not against it as a story. But when that's all you're getting, that's going to reinforce to people like, oh, the future does suck. It like we have fucked up. We're not going anywhere great. And it's like, if we stay on this trajectory, maybe not. But we need to be able to encourage so that we can have people go, nope, we're taking that left. So I'd like to see more aspirational sci-fi. That's just a thought I've had like for a while. But you reminded me of that. Oh yeah, and look at that. Even Timon right there. We need new sci-fi, original sci-fi. I genuinely agree with that. And you know what? I even sort of have like an anecdotal thing to that. So I don't know about you guys, but for me, it is very, very hard to start something new. At least when it comes to like Western movies and Western like long running television series. I don't know what it is. Throw me a Toku show, I got that first episode up immediately. You just throw me an anime that I really, really like or that I'm interested in that I haven't read the manga of yet, I'm right there week by week. But there's something about just general Western, and it's not even like a culture war thing. It's just like a weird bit where I'm like, I'll get to it. I don't know what it is. That's just how I'm wired. But a few years ago, I got really, really into, I forget what the name of it is. But if you type in the general, like if you Google generally what I'm about to say, the show should come up. But Netflix got the license to this Australian sci-fi show where like all of a sudden the premise was basically like, it's regular Australia, yada, yada, yada. One day, like 40 people who were all confirmed dead are just back. And like, they're not zombies. They're like, I'm here. What's going on? And it was super creepy, and it was there's a sci-fi bent to it, obviously, but I was obsessed with it, and it was an original thing. And I was like, I love this. Sadly, it got canceled, and I went, you bastards! But still, I agree with you, Timon. We need new sci-fi. We need original sci-fi. Even if it is like inventing new sci-fi stories for like comic book characters that already exist, give me a good new run on like Adam Strange. Right? Give me a good new Martian Manhunter series or a good new GL series or something like that. Just anything that isn't the same stuff we've seen time and time and time and time again. I mean, Rebel Moon, that was basically just an amalgamation of all the worst sci-fi tropes that have popped up in recent years. And if you were to look at that as an example of what not to do, I think that would work out very, very well for anybody. Yeah. I'm catching up, guys. I know I keep tangenting, but I'm catching up. We will hear what everybody says. Andrew says, yeah, people are being genuinely... Why is it that I must have like some setting that it makes Andrew... Maybe it's because he's my mod. I don't know. But yeah, people are being genuinely awful and vile towards each other over these fires. It's heartbreaking. Look, I can understand the schadenfreude. Like we said at the top, there are some real big dipshits in Hollywood. There are a lot of people like I don't like who are working in Hollywood right now, right? Tom King is probably somewhere in LA because he's helping James Gunn with the DCU. Ava DuVernay's got like a house there. All of those crazy ladies from The View, they all live there. I don't like them. I don't like them one damn bit. But that doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and go like, you deserved this tragedy. Right? Like, especially over just differences in opinions, and they're not even like politicians enacting policy. It's just, it goes back to that. Everybody wants to be bloodthirsty. Everybody wants to be a capital P poster now, right? Like, that's what I was sort of getting to with the Elon's monetization and all the algorithm changes he's made, if you like, for all of you out there who were on Twitter way before Elon took over, you guys sort of remember how the culture of that site was. And I don't mean like left or right or political, but I mean in the sense of like how its users operated. A big poster would become a poster naturally because he would just be naturally funny, or she would be naturally funny, or they would have just the right take, the right ding. But whatever it was natural because we went, you are funny, let's elevate you and retweet you, yada, 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 yada. Now, and that's how, those people got discovered. That's how we came to know these funny people. And that's how we start getting all those, screen caps that we all share all the time. People like Elon and a lot of the blue check people, they think that they see that. They're like, I want to be that. I want to be somebody who do you follow that person? They're an influencer. They're great, but they don't have the charisma or the knowledge or anything like that to really endear themselves to people. So what do? They go, what gets attention? Being a complete cock. So they just become assholes because everybody will retweet them and yell at them or agree with them. And it's sensational. And it's just this. It's why it's why I always recommend to everybody heavily, like, don't, social media is not inherently bad, but you should really go out of your way to like hyper curate all of your experiences. For example, like on my feed, that the Kabuto Writer Mav one, I follow, big companies and big comic book companies and big, artists and stuff like that. But, for me, because it's my like personal account, I curb it towards, creators I like, people who aren't, spouting shit all the time. I want to see this artist share their latest Power Girl drawing. I want to see, shout out to my girl, Ella Warren. I want to see her take on the latest book she wrote. I want to see what Andrew is up to today. I want to see what Mary's doing. Like, I feel better because I'm not constantly subjecting myself to all these shitty takes. If I want to do that, I can go over to the Bounding account where I follow so many people, but that's because I need to for the news. I need to, be on the ground, stay appraised. If I'm not working, I don't want to, destroy my mentality by just losing myself to that void. Okay, let's see. Shinkai sent us this. Shinkai said, yeah, this is basically Ubisoft trying to, or this is their statement. Let's see. Oh, it's not playing. Why isn't it? And now there's no audio because I probably have it muted. Yep, it's up there. I literally never interact with shorts unless it's Andrew sending me that asshole who doesn't know anything about the Flash. So I apologize for this shorts related boomerism. Here.
Sir, you raise your hand if you want to ask a question, boy. Sir? No talking in my class. But you just said. What do you want? Why is it so cold at the top of a mountain? Seconds of my life. I've never been more wasted than listening to you ask questions. Because the top of a mountain is actually closer to the sun. So why would it be cold? I think the school needs to give your parents a refund. Well, did you know that a frog...
Wait, is this the right one?
It's over.
Oh, no. I was playing the right one. I was like, that one's funny, but I don't think that's relevant. I forgot that we had scrolled a little bit. So this is the one Shinkai was talking about.
Location of greater elevation. I deduce that this battle is finished, Anakin. For you see, I am currently upon a hill of which retains a great difference in height as opposed to your meager platform. I formally declare this debacle of yours as terms for your defeat.
So you know it's...
I will proceed to conclude our lightsaber combat, Anakin. Observe,
my former pupil.
For I possess a tactical advantage granted to me by my undoubtedly considerable altitude. Therefore,
so what's super funny about this, Shinkai, is I know this phenomena very well from being both like a writer for SEO stuff, like for Bounding into Comics, and also having been an English graduate when I was in college. Like, this is the stuff you do. You learn to stretch all of this out, even if it's the most like basic sentence. If you're watching this show, I will like admit to you guys, I do it. So now, fun game. Whenever you read a Bounding article, try, because I am a very like verbose guy anyway. I do have like a kind of big vocabulary, but I think you guys will be able to detect the style. You'll be able to be like, oh yeah, he needed to reach very, very hard to reach the 500 word minimum for this or whatever. So no, you're completely right, Shinkai, because it could have just been like, we're working on things. We can't talk right now, but it's the let's maximize. Let's blah, 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 blah. So no, I totally get that. Caveat says, hope my comment isn't taken out of context. I didn't see a comment you left. I saw that you said hi, but either way, I will never let anybody take your statements out of context, my man. I am, if you're here, I am your #1 context defender forever. Shinkai says, similar to the pig makeup analogy, an analogy I like is penny shoes with a $20 shine still makes for bad footwear. Yes. Yeah. That's the exact same sort of idiom sentiment that I was totally going for. You've got it right there. I think mine comes more from the fact that like my white side is very American South and like rural. So I think that's where they got that one from and transferred it to me. Exact same idea, but that's what they're doing with Shadows. And it's the same thing they're doing with like Brave New World, right? Like Captain America. At a certain point, everybody kind of just has to look at themselves and go, is there any realistic thing we can add or do to this movie that saves it? And if the answer is a like emphatic no, you then need to start making plans about like, okay, then what do we do? Maybe we give it like, an extra week of polish because there's still some things we need to finish, and then we let it go. But we can't go back for reshoots. We can't do yada, 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 any of that stuff. That's what... Oh, thank you, Shinkai. That's right. It's Zuko talking, and he's going, yeah, that's rough, buddy. Because he's talking to Sokka about that. That's what it was. Yeah, because Sokka was telling him about Yue, the moon lady. Yeah, see, Volume Dealer, you guys talk about that Assassin's Creed game too much. I don't give a shit about that nonsense. At this point, I think all we can really... There's nothing left to say about that game until it comes out. Once it comes out, then we can start talking about what we discover as people start playing it. We can start talking about sales. We can start talking about performance issues, all of that stuff. But yeah, no, I'm kind of with you there, Volume Dealer. At this point, what is there left to say? First of all, I didn't even realize. Yeah, hey, Volume Dealer, what's going on, buddy? I didn't even realize that was you showing up. But Volume Dealer also says, Gary mentioned Abounding 2 days in a row. Hey, that's awesome. I got nothing but love over there for Gary, and that's just really impressive to me that a site that was supposed to have shut down 6 months, a year ago because of low viewership, because I'm such a bad reporter, is getting mentioned by one of the bigger pop culture channels. It's so very odd. Yeah, just spewing verbal diarrhea all over the place. It's just none of it's great right now. It was Farscape is good, but it wasn't Farscape. It was something more recent. Like it was made within like a year of when Netflix got its license. I wish I could here, let me see. Australian sci-fi show People Come Back. Glitch. There it is. Yes, this show. Yeah. A police officer and a doctor face an emotionally charged mystery when several local residents inexplicably return from the dead in peak physical form. This is a really, really fun show. I'm pretty sure it's over. Yeah, I think it's done, unfortunately. But very, very good. If you're in the mood for a slow burn sci-fi series, I highly recommend that one. I would throw you guys there, and I try not to do you wrong. Zero says Rebel Moon is Game of Thrones in space with a worse writer. It's not just Game of Thrones. It's Game of Thrones. It's Star Wars. It's parts of Star Trek. It's parts of Halo. It's essentially, a kid taking their toys out into the backyard, and they're all from different series, and he's just making up a story with them. And Batman fights Luke, and then they get, they make up, and then they get together, and they go and fight Carnage, and then Carnage goes, oh no, I need help. So here comes Cell, but then you just do the 50 Shades of Grey thing, where you just give them because 50 Shades of Grey started as Twilight fan fiction, you just give it all original names, boom, you're done. Go make your $4 bazillion. But Rebel Moon was just not it. I can't believe Netflix invested that much into it. I think Zack Snyder is a better motion action director than he is a story director. I've made this analogy many times, and I'm looking around right now for which two figures I'm going to sacrifice for this example. We're going to use my American Gundam, right? My America RX-78, and my Transformers animated Starscream. So what Zach is really good at doing, and I've done this before, is so then Batman comes in and he fights, and then he smacks him up in the air, and he hangs there for a second, but then Batman drops back down, and he hits him, and then they smash, and my mic stand is broken. It broke like Wednesday during 01, so I just when you heard that big like thud, that was me knocking it off its stand. New equipment is coming for next week, but for now we've got to deal with this one. Damn it, I didn't even unmute. Sorry about that. My mic stand is broken. It broke during 01 on Wednesday. New equipment is coming, a microphone, a stand, all that fun stuff, but that'll be for next week. So when you heard that big thud, that was me knocking it off the stand while I was doing my Zack impression. But that's what Zack Snyder is really good at, is doing crazy, off the top action like that. Oh no, my RX lost one of his sword points. So that's like what Zach's really good at doing. But then when somebody goes, okay, Zach, how do we get them from point A to point B for that to happen? He goes, I don't know. Starscream walked into a bar. Anyway, then they get back to fighting. So like 300, that's a pretty damn good movie and a pretty damn good adaptation, but it's 90% action. There's not really that much of a deep plot to it. Same with Sucker Punch. Same with, Watchmen is different. He didn't have to write jack shit for that, so he got to just play with the visuals. And honestly, guys, I like Watchmen a lot. I know it misses the point of what the graphic novel was doing. I know there's all that cultural aspect to it, but as just like I want to see my Watchmen come to life. I like it a lot, and I will not apologize. And then yeah, I know I missed a bunch of stuff, and then I muted myself, so I'm dumb, but I am back. Don't worry. But then Punk says, I don't miss being on Twitter/X. If I could, I would not mind being off of it. If people like Andrew and Zero who regularly try to message me, you guys, like, they know this, but on the weekends, typically at least for Saturday, for most of Sunday, I try to stay off of social media because I know that I spend my week more so than probably a decent chunk of you guys. I know a lot of you guys spend time online as well, but I have to do it for work. I spend so much time in the trenches of just muddy, like walking through all the shit we have to deal with, that I don't want to do it on my free time. On my free time, I want to spend my Saturdays waking up when I want, reading a good comic book. I'll throw on Andrew's live stream. I'll do some drawing. I don't have to worry about what dipshit said what dipshit thing about my favorite character that day. I have a Blue Sky account because why not? I just sign up for it. Everybody should. Go reserve your handles at the very least so that if the site does become popular, nobody's going to swoop it out from under you and do impersonations. But my feed over there, it's just booby artists and video game artists, and it's fun. I like being over on that feed. Of course, I got to go back to Twitter to actually get like news, but if I just want to like entertain myself and zone out, a Blue Sky feed works. The only thing I wish is that more of the artists I follow would start actively using their accounts instead of like every other day. But that's a process, whatever. I'm like not attached to the, if a social media site goes down, I'm so okay with like a new one popping up because I'm from the early days of the internet. That's what happened. A forum goes down, you go to a new forum. An IRC chat goes down, well, you go and ask your buddy and you find out that 3 different like successors have popped up around it. So curate your experiences, guys. Again, if you're willingly going in and you want to see all the drama, cool, you do you. I'm not going to say like don't do it, but if you're in the zone of like, why is everything so negative, this sucks, try to tweak it a little bit. Yeah, Volume Dealer Cider was writing that shit, the Assassin's Creed stuff. That's like an area he's very, very passionate about because he's very he's more in tune with like the Japanese societal culture side of things, like the actual people on the ground, the actual politics and things like that. So that is a passion point for him. So he's going to regularly hit that. And for those of you who don't know, Cider, the hierarchy of Bounding right now is that while I'm still at the top, Cider is essentially one of my second in commands, and he has full reign over the video stuff. So when you see a video from Cider, that is essentially Cider writing his own article. I might not agree with it, but I agree with his right to say it. If he has something he wants to say, I want him to say it. It's all about, you know, true diversity of opinions and true providing you guys, you know, you might not like what my take on it, but hey, maybe Cider's got one you want to hear. It's a good team up, if you will. Let's see. What is this? What is going on over here? Pardon me. Whoa. Oof. This is a really gross like tidbit, but I feel like my audience here will laugh. After I went to the gym today, I went and I got lunch, and I went to Costco and I got 2 hot dogs. And now my burps are being hot doggy. It's really gross, but it's also making me laugh because I feel like a 4-year-old. Wow, yeah, well, so Volume Dealer says, I enjoy Sucker Punch. Caveat does not like it. Shinkai says, Sucker Punch was nice, but a disjointed mess. I like that we got the full range of, you know, pro, middle, and against Sucker Punch. I am sort of, where with Shinkai, I don't think it is a particularly amazingly written movie, but I have a lot of fun when I watch it. I think the action and all of that is really cool. It's very much a turn off your brain sort of movie and hang out with it. Oh, whoa, check that out. Caveat Ty says he's at the ski slopes waiting for his son to be done skiing. Dude, that's really cool. I haven't been skiing in ages. I actually kind of miss it. Except like, it's so expensive nowadays. I mean, that's just everything, but yeah, I definitely miss skiing. Back when I was in California for college, we used to go up to those mountains all the time. I'm not particularly good at it, but it's fun. Good for your son. Is your son like just doing it like fun runs? Is he training for like I don't know if they're like teenage teams for this kind of stuff. I don't know specifically. Obviously they weren't in California because we were all very, very far away from the mountains, but that is really, really cool. I'm pretty jealous. Zero. So Zero says, ironically, I have no interest in Blue Sky. Zero, I say this with love. You do have a problem with like fighting people and like a slight drama addiction. So of course, Blue Sky is not going to appeal to you. You don't, none of that stuff is over there. And what is over there is even, it's to the level of stuff that even you, Zero, would find like not engageable with, right? Like, you know, I'm going to take a moment here, but if you guys know Zero or if you've seen him around, you'll know that he is very passionate about the hobbies we all enjoy. And that passion can sometimes take the form of him getting really riled up, really explosive, you know, yelling at people on Twitter, picking fights, yada, yada, yada. To his credit, he's gotten a lot better in recent months, in recent weeks. He's definitely been putting in effort to curb that. So I want to applaud him for that. Say, you know, that's going to be healthier just for you overall, buddy. But to how that applies to what I'm saying is that over on Blue Sky, the kind of fighting and drama you get over there is between like the super like neo-lib like leftists who all fled Twitter because they were crying, and the like really annoying conservatives who just went over there to piss in the like liberals' Cheerios, right? So it's not even like people are fighting about real issues. Like, I think, what's a video game I think Marvel Rivals should be censored or something, right? And then everybody's going, no, it shouldn't be censored. It's not even fights like that. It's like, wow, if you're here, thumbs up for fighting against fascism. And then another person goes, I'm here too, though. MAGA, fuck you. Like, it's just the most immature shit to the point where like you wouldn't like enjoy it. So if you don't enjoy that drama, nobody will. But that's why one of the great things I like about Blue Sky, I mean, I guess Twitter does it, but I just ran a block list over on my Blue Sky account, right? Again, it's not what I'm using to communicate with the public or for bounding, but I don't want to see hashtag resist people. I don't want to see hashtag MAGA people. I don't want to see e-thoughts in my thing. Like, I don't want to see fitness gurus. So luckily Blue Sky has a very quick way to like follow lists like that. So I just did that. And now it's booba. It's fantastic. I would show you my feed if it weren't for the fact that, you know, those artists draw not safe for work, and it would probably get us in trouble. Timon says, didn't care for Sucker Punch, never saw it. Don't worry, we'll teach. I'll go get Cider to make an AI do a 1980s Toku version of Sucker Punch, and then we'll get you. Sakura says, did you see my comment? I did. Is it the? Just confirm for me, Sakura, and then I'll pull it up. Are you talking about the one about stuff that belongs in the real world and whatnot? If that's true, we'll hit it. I just wasn't sure if that's the one you're talking about. But let's see. Caveat Ty says $10 special for 5th graders just for fun. Very small slope in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Dude, that's really, really cool. In like a not creepy way. Like I'm like super stoked for your son. Like that's really cool. He's probably gonna like have so many good memories and have so much fun. And a $10 special, that's crazy. Again, I know that stuff is more local for you guys down there, and I'm from California, but I could never imagine in my wildest dreams getting a $10 like lift pass, which is what I'm assuming it is. That's really, really cool. That's a really good way to put it, Zero. It's like chimpanzees throwing shit at each other. It's just like, I don't want to. Again, there's the statement. If you what is it like? If you get down with the pigs, you're gonna get covered in shit. And I don't need to get into these slop fights that do nothing but, you know, like when you engage in online, not you specifically, Zero, but like the royal you, when anybody engages in an online argument and it's a heated one, the only thing that you're doing, really, you're almost never going to convince somebody to, you know, change their mind or come to your side or anything like that. At best, you're just giving people out of context ammo so that they can come back 4 years later and go, look at what you wrote. You said, I don't like Miles Morales and I don't think he should be here. And you go, but it was but it's not, I didn't say no, like, about black people. It's about the fact that he's like, he shouldn't be a guardian of the galaxy or something, like, you know what I mean? It's better for yourselves, your health, you know, looking over your shoulder if you limit your fighting at the very least. And again, that's not you specifically, Zero. I'm looking out for everybody here because social media is a crapshoot lately. Punk says, I got the Homar foil variant of Dark Knights of Steel All Winter #1 from eBay today to go with Homar cardstock variant of Dark Knights of Steel All Winter Night. That's going to look great. Here, let's pull up that cover. I actually know which one you're talking about. Dark Knights of Steel. All Winter #1 variant. Which site will you give me? I'm presuming this is the one you're talking about, right? The blue one, the Killer Frost one. I keep seeing that one on the shelves, and I'm like, that one looks really, really great. But you've got to go and you got to frame those bad boys, Punk. You're getting so many cool books lately that I really want to see them like in a cool display. I know. Shout out to me and Andrew's good friend Trace. He also collected, if you guys remember, J. Scott Campbell did variant covers for the first 5 issues of the new X-Men series last year. Me, Andrew, and Trace, we all got them, but Trace is the only one who's framed them so far, and they look gorgeous. It looks really cool. So I always recommend, guys, like go put your things in cool like cases, display them. Like I eventually want a nerd rot, like a Gary Nerdrotic style room, which I used to have when I had all of my own places and stuff. But unfortunately, you know, with recent times and not having my own space, I can't do it. But that's what I love doing. Like I love having my vinyls on the wall, my comics, my prints, my blah, 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 blah. It's my own personal little cool museum, and I can be like, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. It's also good if you're like a creative, because you can like go into these rooms and sit and like look around for inspiration. And you might, you know, you look at one action figure this day and you go, oh, I really like his outfit design. But you might look at him like 3 weeks from now and go like, I remember his story. That's a good story to take like a bit of inspiration from. And so, yeah, I love that stuff right now. I mean, like here is my very, very minimal display of what I've got up now, right? So you can see like I've got like the lighting is awful, but I've got like my all compact comics, my like Kamen Rider DVDs, some figure arts, some like cards that are on like display, some merch, like my controller, just like I love it. It's just it's cool. I don't know. I like things like that. You guys know that. I like aesthetics a lot. But let's see. Okay. So Sakura brought up earlier. Honestly, that stuff belongs in the real world what ifs, not a fucking Marvel comic. Now I don't remember specifically which thing we were talking about, but that is one of the bigger problems right now in comic book writing is like everybody keeps wanting to make everything like a one-to-one analogy to what's happening in the world, and that not only like hyper dates your comic, but it's also going to be super polarizing because everybody, for example, let's say there's a comic book where Spider-Man fights Doctor Doom. And, let's say we have two multiverse variants. I got the book from one universe and another universe. In one of the books, Spider-Man and Doctor Doom fight, and they punch each other out. They do a bunch of stuff. Spidey throws some quips. Doom says, "Oh, curse you." And, let's say Spidey emerges victorious. Now, people might complain about it. Fans will have their debates over it. But generally, the debate is going to stick in the realm of like, should Doctor Doom or Spider-Man have won in this fight? And we'll get, 900,000 debates for the rest of time over that. The second you start trying to put a political thing in there, that's when everybody starts putting their own spin, their own lenses on it, right? Everybody's political lens is so specific that they're going to take things one way to a point where you're going to have 9,000 different reads of your book out there, especially if you do it ham-fistedly and in a way that just is more crybaby than actually poignant. So, like, I just, like, I just want more what ifs that are like grounded in actual Marvel history and aren't trying to do things that, like, remember Miles Morales? What if Miles Morales was Thor? That was embarrassingly racist. And, people thought that was great because it was reflecting contemporary society. It's just like, this sort of goes back to that point I was making about posting. Like, you can't force audiences to think that your writing is amazing. If you are talented, you will write something that everybody will eventually go, I like this. Alan Moore didn't go out and write Watchmen thinking this is going to be the definitive book of everything. Tolkien didn't go out to write Lord of the Rings going, this is going to be the definitive fantasy story. Toriyama didn't go out going, I'm going to make the definitive shonen manga. But they made their works and everybody, said, I like this. They looked at it for its merit. And so now they are beloved. You can't force it. So trying, and oftentimes when you see somebody try to inject a very contemporary zinger or whatever into their comic books, it is, what was I going to say there? Damn it. What was I totally forgot what I was going to say. I thought you were going to mention stuff like, what if Hasbro buys Power Rangers before, shit went bad in our timeline? I mean, so I'm always torn on the Hasbro thing, Sakura, and I'm not going to lie, because like, on one hand, yes, we all love Power Rangers and it sucks what they're doing with it. But the way they got here is just one of those like corporate moments that is so goddamn funny to me. Because if you guys don't know, Hasbro didn't actually want the license for Power Rangers. The president at the time, who sadly passed away about 2 years after this deal went through, and then current CEO Chris Cox, stepped up. But the old CEO of Hasbro just bought it. And then he came back to the company one day and said, hey, we got Power Rangers. And they went, you didn't talk to anybody. You didn't talk to R&D. You didn't talk to like accounting. What the fuck? So that to me is, and then he dies. And so they're just stuck with it. again, really shitty for us as fans, but damn if that's not like just straight up a hilarious moment of corporate bullshitting. So I actually do. This is I'm glad Sakura brought Hasbro back up to my attention, because I do want to mention the recent development with Transformers. So let me pull that story up real quick. While I do that, let's just hang out on this window real quick. And yeah, so Punk is saying the Dark Knight of Steel All Winter was a really good miniseries. Here's the problem. I wanted to like get into the All Winter one because it's like this really cool Deathstroke story, but it's written by Tom Taylor. And I don't criticize anybody for liking whatever writers they like. Like if you like the story, I like some Tom Taylor stuff too. But for right now, it's really hard for me to see his name on something and go like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. The fact that you gave it a recommendation means I will be way more likely to like check it out, at least like flip through an issue or two. But if it weren't for you saying that, I would have avoided it forever. No caveat ties. You don't got to force it. You are already talented, my man. You've already got a spot. You're already in the pantheon. You don't need to worry about that. What the hell? That's what the game is called. I'm stupid. What graphics should we look at? Let's go to, I don't even remember. Well, we can just go here. Let's go to, we can get to the main topic, but we also got other topics. I know that Volume Dealer brought up the main topic for the night, so we'll get to that. We'll see where we go. But I'm trying to pull this up so that we can just talk about this very, very quick. So, if you guys didn't see the news, this week, Hasbro and a studio called Splash Studios, they canceled the game that we are looking at right now, which was a Transformers multiplayer game called Transformers Reactivate. What it would have seen was basically you teaming up with 1 to 3 other players to tackle a bunch of various multiplayer missions. And don't worry, guys, I have the sound off because it's going to be hard to talk with you guys if we just keep hearing a bunch of explosions over what we're saying, and it's not really that important. But earlier this week, it was straight up canceled. All we have heard of this game was it was announced 2 years ago with this trailer, complete silence, and then they came out earlier this week and said, game's not happening anymore. So this was the reveal trailer, oh, look, you can be a Transformer. Yay, yay, yay. But let's see. IGN had like actual gameplay footage of this. And if IGN doesn't have it, then we can just do leaked footage. Must be this. Oh yeah, it's 6 minutes of it. So this is the game. As it was being developed, you can see a bunch of like watermarks on it, all the HUD. Essentially, guys, so I don't know how else to break this to us or to the fine folks in my audience, but I know a lot of people were excited about a new Transformers game, right? We don't get them that often. And when we do get them, they actually do tend to be pretty damn good. I don't know if you guys ever played the War for Cybertron series. I highly recommend that. Go play the Energon game from like 2006. It's one of the best like open world Transformers games because you can actively like switch between your forms while you're running around the open world. The Platinum Games made Transformers Devastation. It's kind of short, but if you can pick it up for like $20, $15, I mean, it's super cheap. I actually don't know if it's sold anymore, but secondhand copies are very easy to come by. I'd recommend it. It's a good solid, couple hours of fun. But I get it, guys. A lot of people are sad that this is canceled, but if you're looking at this, you were probably going to, if you haven't put it together yet, this is just another Suicide Squad. This is another multiplayer third-person online shooter where you have to do a bunch of co-op missions And, you know, look at all the objective markers that we are seeing on the screen at all time. Not this one in particular, because it's clearly just somebody doing like test firing, but we see, you know, those two go attack these spots over here. Then we've got hold clusters to be like rebuilt. We've got purge things at the top. It was just going to be another live service that wanted to, you know, drain your money. Again, it might have been good. Like technically, eventually, I know, yeah, Zero points out, this looks really buggy. It does, but also keep in mind, this is this is in development. This was not supposed to be seen by us ever. This footage that we're actively looking at, this is a demo build. That's why things are still pink. That's why, you know, that there are no textures loaded there. That's why things are a little bit choppy. Hey, Punk, have a great sleep, my friend. I will talk to you very, very soon, I'm sure. Thank you for hanging out with us. And, just rest easy. Was what a joke? What did I say? I may have missed it. If it was, I didn't do it on purpose. Or unless you're talking about the game, in which case, no, this is actually what it was going to be. So even if it did feel fun to play, it would have been just another live service slop that you would have been asked to buy battle passes for, to dedicate parts of your life to do your dailies. It's a bit unfortunate that it's not going to happen, because it would have been just a Transformers game, but I think we're better off for the brand, and this is a better move by Hasbro that it's not coming out. Because remember, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're asking if this is a Transformers game. It was supposed to be, we're Bumblebee right here, but it would have been another live service game. We're in an era, that's what I was saying. We're in an era right now where live service games are all but dead, or not dead, but interest is dwindling fast. People are, you know, not checking out a bunch of new ones. They're really wrapping, or what do you call, like consolidating into the ones that they already like and play. So many live service games are being canceled just almost every other week. I did a report a couple days ago about something Sony related, but I put in this factoid that I, you know, researched. Last year alone, they canceled like 9 different live service titles, which was going to be like the main part of their portfolio. And that's things like the Last of Us live service game, the Spider-Man live service game where you would have played as Miles, Gwen, Peter, and Ben. All of this stuff is going out because they're realizing it's a bad investment. And so it sucks. I guess it sucks if you're just really that starved for Transformers media, but I almost guarantee you, unless you are one of those whales who gets really addicted to very simple systems, we all would have been bored of this very, 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 very fast. It probably wouldn't have been as big of a disaster as Suicide Squad, because that was also hurt by its writing, where I can imagine maybe some stupid stuff, you know, rhetoric-wise in Transformers about like equality. And again, equality is good, but there's ham-fisted ways that these devs like to put in these messages. I can see that happening, but nothing on the level of like killing Batman or insulting everybody. So the reason I brought this up more is that because Sakura brought up Hasbro and how it's kind of in the shitter right now, I want to remind people that Hasbro, if you don't remember, Hasbro is no longer giving money to any projects based on their IPs. So if you want to make a movie on Transformers, if you want to make a video game about Power Rangers, if you wanted to make let's say a board or like a television show about Magic the Gathering, you can do that. You can go and pay them the license, but they will not give you any funding for it, right? Which is a very odd move, because normally if you, the more you invest into a game, the more you will potentially see out of it when it finally releases. They're saying, no, we're not doing anything. You can come license it, but we're not helping you at all. So I think that probably played a big part in why this game is sinking. But, you know, it's one of those games where it's like there's kind of no element of this that probably didn't play a part. It's live service. Hasbro's not supporting things anymore. Transformers as a brand is in a really weird spot. It was just, the deck was stacked against him for this game. And I think I think this is a smarter move to say, we're just canning this, because even with what we're seeing here, it was not going to show us anything. Oh, no puns from Zero. That was straight up. But that's a platform game. It wasn't a platform game. This was going to be a live service sort of Suicide Squad style game. So you would have gotten missions, go to towers, deactivate tower 1, go to tower 2, deactivate tower 2. Oh, here's a wave of enemies. Shoot these enemies down. Okay, now you can go deactivate. We know those systems, the Far Cry, Ubisoft way of developing games, but and that's what I mean. None of this would have been great. It would have been very, very blasé. So maybe another studio can get a chance at this, but we need to put a definitive sort of end to generic live service 4-player co-op shooters, because nobody really wants to do them. Again, if you want to make a good 4-player co-op shooter that's just like, hey, drop you in the game and go shoot things, and like a Halo or a Call of Duty where you can all do a mission level together, right? Or there's a specific mode that's like a firefight. I'm totally all for that. That sounds really fun. What I'm saying we should avoid is the live service stuff of asking everybody to check in every day, of saying you've got to be online to do this, to say, oh, you got to wait for the next season update to see this part of the story. It's just, nobody wants it. It's really not that appealing of a format. And yeah, that's really all I can say about what they're doing right here, and Hasbro overall. Again, I think I said it at the top of the show, but I say it a lot. I don't think they're long for this world, like just in general. Thirsty. All right, let's see. So, bump. Oh, damn, I didn't see this. Holy crap. Caveat said $10 for everything, including ski rentals. That's an even more bonkers deal there, because that's, again, genuine shock. All right, so I guess with that, yeah, we could. We're at a good spot to start cracking into maybe some of our main topics. Let's see. Okay, so the first thing, it's really not going to be that big of a or probably that long of a discussion here, but let's see. Pulling this up real quick, and what do we want to look at? Okay, I guess we can just look at, I think, what do I want to click on? Yeah, let's bring this up. So, in case you guys haven't talked to me over the past couple days, or weeks rather, or you haven't been online, I, along with zillions of others, 500,000 of others, at least according to Steam's concurrent player count, we're all loving Marvel Rivals. It's currently the flavor of the, like, whatever the current moment in time. Maybe it's a month, maybe it's a couple months. We'll see. That's ultimately to be determined. But you guys, I've talked about this before. It's a hero shooter. We know that. And while hero shooters and live service titles are sort of on the outs right now, Marvel Rivals does a significant job in sort of shaking up what we know about the industry status quo, right? Where yes, we have seasons and battle passes, but guess what? If I buy it once, I can unlock it forever. I don't need to worry about, oh no, I'll never finish season 1. I got to log in for the next 3 days, which I don't know about you guys, but as somebody who's played a very large amount of, game cycle. That's a good way. Yeah. The flavor of this current game cycle. I like that, Volume Dealer. But as somebody who's played, lots of games with battle passes and tried different ones out, Warzone, Fortnite, Overwatch, that's a really big boon, especially for older folks like us who can't play maybe necessarily every day for an extended period of time. So that's a big win over it's also just way more vibrant. It's way more, there's more personality and care put into this game than something like, say, Overwatch 2, which is unfortunate because I used to be a big Overwatch guy back in the day, but Blizzard has just sort of shit the bed with that. Like, there's posts going around right now where people are comparing the Marvel Rivals player count to the current Overwatch 2 player count, and they're like, oh, this is so sad, I can't believe it. And it's like, look, I liked Overwatch 2, but they dug this hole themselves. This is all on them. I'm not going to feel sorry for a company that kind of just stopped trying and also just started lying to us. Remember, when they said we're making Overwatch 2, it was supposed to be a completely different game. It was supposed to have different modes. It was supposed to be a big player versus everyone experience. It was supposed to have a story. And when and now they've canceled all of that, and it's basically just Overwatch 1 multiplayer with new models. It's embarrassing. Whereas over here, we're getting new characters all the time. We already have seen, like, let's see, obviously Ben and the Human Torch are coming, but then aside from those two, we're already seeing, like, 4 or 5 other leaked characters. So then you add Reed and Sue to the mix, who are here now. That means at launch, they already had 10 other characters ready to go, like, that they were working on top of the, like, 22 that they've already introduced. Overwatch started with, like, 14 heroes, and it took them, like, 6 years, or, like, 1 year to add a hero, 1 year to add another hero, and then 5 years to add another one. Absolute bonkers bullshit. So, you know, like, if this holds for Marvel Rivals, this is a better content pipeline. It's more, and you know what? I'm just going to say, like, it's Marvel characters. It's got a bit of a bigger brand behind it, especially because this is leaning more into their comic book incarnations than it is their MCU incarnations. So that, like, to me as a big comic book dork, that's a big appeal to me too, especially seeing how everybody interacts, all the special attentions to detail given to everything. It's sort of like a Marvel comic fan's wet dream. But aside from that, obviously we got Reed and Sue. They just got introduced to the game. I tried to play it last night because I actually had some free time. So on one hand, 2 things went wrong. One, I tried to log on and I logged in at the one, like, 2-hour, 3-hour gap where the servers were down because they were rolling out the season 1 update from season 0. So I was like, man, that sucks. So I eventually, like, waited it out, got in, and I was like, man, I can't wait to play, like, Reed or Sue because they're new characters. Of course, everybody is, like, picking them. And I'm just like, fine, fuck it. I'll wait, like, 2 weeks until I can play them. But aside from that, the main reason Marvel Rivals is even really a topic for tonight is because we have gotten 2 new characters. As I mentioned, we got Reed and Sue, both of which came with their first alternate costume, or I think that's how we want to put it. I think there's, like, a recolor where it turns their suits more blue like the comics, but I want to talk really quick about their alternate outfits. I don't think, he doesn't show it off here, but let me see. I know what I can do. Marvel Rival Season 1, and it'll bring up, like, here's everything, and Season 1. No, it's not what I need. I need here, this skin showcase. So let's talk about this. So the main reason I was so excited about Reed joining this game is because Reed also comes with a damn maker skin, as this guy should have timed it better with what I was saying. We have literally Reed as the maker, who, so first off, if you guys don't know who the maker is, it is the version of Reed from the original Ultimate Universe who basically he cracked. He went insane. He realized, like, our world is, like, real bullshit. You know, it's real dark. It's real heavy, and nothing, like, we can't change it. What do we do? So he went and, he kind of got in his mind to, I'm going to orchestrate and make the world perfect. And so since then, he's been undertaking various schemes, whether it's, like, making his own genetic, like, society, whether it's recreating the Ultimate Universe as we see it now in the 6160. And he's just sort of a right bastard type of villain. He is Reed without any of the, what do you want to call it? Like, nothing's holding him back. He has no sense of, like, no conscience, no limitations. If he thinks he can get something by experimenting on you, he will experiment on you, right? Like, he's just such a good villain, especially because he is, he's Reed. He is full Reed. There's no, he's Reed, but a little dumber. He is just straight, I'm Reed, piss off. So the fact that, like, when they went to add, so if you guys have talked to me over the past few ever, or checked out Foil Variant, or seen me talk in Andrew's Discord server, you'll know that I absolutely love the Maker. So when they introduced him, I kind of just lost my mind. And, you know, I took the opportunity to just throw him in my thumbnail because at current, guys, like, I don't know how many of you read the descriptions to videos. I tend to, not most of the time, but he's probably my favorite supervillain of the modern contemporary era. Just every time he shows up, it's a legitimate threat. He's legitimately scary. And yeah, I'm just happy that, like, this is the kind of care I want to see from my games. Like a Maker skin, it almost makes up for the fact that the only other alternate skin that Spider-Man has outside of his Bagman and MCU one is Chasm. That sucks, but this rules. So I'm so super stoked on that. But so Volume Dealer says, are the costumes cosmetic or do they change the character abilities? They are only cosmetic. I believe some of them bring cosmetic changes to the abilities. Like they might change the color of the like beam you use or whatever. But for the most part, they are just aesthetic for now. But hopefully, you know, maybe in the future we'll get different character. Like what I would like to see is, I would like to see these characters all, like, the skins turn them into a legitimately different character. So, like, if I'm Reed and I pick the Maker skin, I would love, like, voice lines of the Maker. I would like that. I would like him to act like the Maker. Then if I go to Reed, you're Reed, right? Like, I want to see that in the future, but we're still early on, so let's see what happens. Yeah, Shinkai says, was surprised to see Sue Storm have a dominatrix look. That's where we are going to go next, because Volume Dealer brought up the fact that he was not a fan of that costume. Let me grab his comment real quick if I can find it again. Okay, I can't find it again because I lost it because I've highlighted way too many of your guys' comments. But yeah, so Volume Dealer brought it up. He was not a fan of Sue's look, so let's go take a look at what she's rocking. So obviously, Sue Storm, the blonde white woman to end all blonde white women, and I say that with appreciation because I am weak to blonde women. She is now in the game. I don't know why the quality went down so bad. What happened there? Weird. So she is in the game now, and she also brings with her, well, this is her standard look. Hey, again, this game just, it's bright, it's colorful. I love it. The guys look great. The women look great. The Hulk looks great. Rocket looks great. But she also brings with her a secondary costume. Now, this costume is the Malice costume. And yes, as Shinkai was pointing out, it definitely gives her a very risque, gothy, dominatrix-y look, right? She's got the head wrap, her booty's hanging out in a good way. She's got, you know, sharper claws, spikes emanating, her eyes are glowing red. Now, this comic, or this suit, let me bring it up really quick, is actually based on an actual suit from the comic books. Back in the day, when Reed and Sue first tried to have kids, unfortunately, as tends to happen, Sue had a miscarriage, and this led her to sort of break, or not break, but it led her to be so vulnerable that supervillains were able to manipulate her into Breaking Bad. And in Breaking Bad, she became a supervillain, or she was like this for like a couple issues, so I don't know if you really want to call her a supervillain, but she ends up adopting this persona, Malice, Mistress of Hate. And so this is the costume that it is inspired by. Now, what made me laugh about this particular like translation of the costume is that, so this is already a pretty, you know, for lack of a better term, kinky, like I said, risque, gothy, you know, dominatrix-y, like Shinkai said, look. Very much so, even by today's standards. Like, if we threw her into this in current times, we would all be like, woo! Like, woo! Like, you know, give me a fan. Goodness, Sue. But what makes... So, I just want to, like... So, in... The reason I bring up Sue's costume is not just because you guys brought it up, but because I actually agree with you, Volume Dealer, right? Like, obviously the Sue model is great. I like that her butt's hanging out because I'm a guy, and of course, you know, guys, ladies, we all like seeing attractive people, whatever. But I'm not a fan in particular of the whole skin itself. You guys know me. I'm more of a like sci-fi superhero kind of guy. I'm not big into the goth aesthetic. I never was. I like a lot of the like horror movies and metal and all that stuff, but I've just never fallen for those trappings. But so overall, I'm not a fan of this skin. I actually did buy enough credits the other night to get not just the season pass, but also Reed's outfit and Sue's outfit. And then I looked at Sue's outfit in the actual game, like when I could purchase it, and I was like, I think I'm okay. But what makes me laugh about her particular suit is that it is just so egregiously more horny than the original one. I'm not complaining. I just think like somebody had fun designing this one. And like to really drive home, like, yes, okay, her booty's hanging out. That's kind of what it is in the original suit. And oh wow, she covered up her chest here, like compared to the original suit. That's not as risque, Mav, but here or as horny, but it's this bit that made me go like, oh, somebody was horny at the computer desk when they were designing her, which is, oh no, it zoomed away too fast. But it is specifically the fact here that compared to her original suit, she's got like it's not like her toes are hanging out. I'm like, I see that and I go, oh yeah, man, somebody had a good time designing this suit. So I'm not a big fan of the suit, but I really applaud the way they adapted it, the levels that they went to adapt it, and the fact that they did, give us such a risque suit. Volume Dealer brings us up. It's a really terrible design and color scheme fails when it could be really well done. It definitely could, and I think what we're looking at here, Volume Dealer, is one of those cases of like, we want to do this old suit, but we also sort of recognize it kind of sucks. So, like, I can see right here, I think we all sort of see it. There are really good pieces to a really, really rad sort of gothic hella level like suit for Sue here, right? Like, the spikes are pretty cool. The even with the red like covering up her chest, I think it looks like aesthetically pretty cool. Her gauntlets are really cool. You could even do something really cool with the head wrap. This way doesn't particularly work out, but it can be done. And then, of course, you guys know me. I'm a giant fan of anytime anybody rocks a Kamen Rider scarf. But yeah, I think that because they had to stick too close to it being like Malice, it probably hamstrung them a little bit. But, to that point, I might not like it, but it's one of those skins where it's like, I might not like it, but I can still recognize like, cool, good job on what you were trying to go for, right? Like, good job playing the hand that you were dealt. So, oh, dude, Timon said, my notebook just gave up on me trying a hard reboot. Dude, I hope not. I've been in situations like that. They are the fucking worst. I mean, here, Mavlore, to make it, to, help you feel a little better in this troubling time. When I was in college, my undergrad thesis to graduate with my degree, my English degree, it was like a 30 page paper, all perfectly cited, sourced, all that fun stuff, single space, right? Because I was an English major. They don't let you get away with any of that bullshit with very thin margins. So this is a fucking beast. I stay up, to put the finishing touches on it the night before. I go to bed and I think I'm fine. I wake up in the morning, I start, getting ready for school. I get my bike, I unlock my bike and I'm like, oh yeah, wait, I gotta go grab my computer, duh. So I bring up the bike detail because like I'm right about to go to campus. I go to grab my computer, fucking dead. Completely fried. Didn't like, for no reason, it was just one of those instances like Timon ran into where it just decided it had enough. Even though I treated it like super well, I didn't do anything crazy with it. I didn't subject it to, Chinese malware. It was just its time. But I wake up 8 a.m. Oh, there goes the microphone arm again, guys. Sorry about that. But, wake up 8 a.m., paper's due in an hour. I don't know what to do. Like, I booked it over to campus, tried to access it with all the lab stuff I had available to me from my friend in the computer science department. Nothing. I went to another buddy. He was like, you can try putting the hard drive in the freezer, and that might bring the hard drive back to life, but the rest of the computer is cooked. And that's actually true, because what it does is it sort of like slows everything down, makes the boot up not... It's complicated. I know it's valid. Trust me, guys. But I do that. It doesn't work. And so I had to go to my professor and be like, I'm physically holding this hard drive right here. Here's my final. What do you want me to do? Like, he gave me like a long extension, and luckily I was able to find a backup of like 5-6 of it because I had emailed it to somebody to share my notes with them. But it was still just like, holy shit. I would have had to stay back in school another year to put that paper back together. Yeah, Sakura. No, I definitely know. Again, I didn't mean to do that. I know I've even gone out of my way to make sure that, my setup as it is, all the cords and everything aren't in the way anymore. It's just this arm is broken, so it just decided it wanted to fall. Again, we'll be better. We'll be better next week. Hopefully we'll not be destroying all of your eardrums. I really, really hope so. But yeah, Volume Dealer over here saying, bring Titania in the game, bring Booba Queen Madeline Pryor into the game. They added a Gamora uniform, and she looks... I haven't seen... Are you sure there's a real Gamora one? I haven't seen a real Gamora one yet. And I know this because earlier today, one of the things that I was like thinking about for a little bit was somebody was on Twitter being like, I can't believe you added all the Guardians except Gamora. And I'm like, it's because Gamora... Well, first of all, you didn't add Drax either, but both of them are sort of very basic in their kits. They don't really have a lot that you can do over... Pardon me, anybody else, right? Like, okay, Gamora is a gunslinger. Cool. We've got Punisher. We've got Winter Soldier. We've got, if you want to be technical, we've got Iron Man. Cool. What does Drax do? What are the Drax and Gamora do? They punch. Well, we've got Thing. We've got Hulk. We've got Iron Fist. We've got Moon Knight. We've got Black Panther. We've got, I feel like I'm missing somebody out here who has like a punch move, Spider-Man, right? Okay, cool. That's not that unique. What else do we have here? Nothing. So it's sort of like, I get it. You want the full roster, but there's nothing they can offer here. Oh, Gamora can use a sword. Well, Magic can use a sword and teleport. It's just one of those things, guys. It happens. Future Fight. They added Gamora into Future Fight. Man, I was looking at that game the other day, Volume Dealer, because you can buy a nameplate and a spray in Rivals that is a crossover they're Marvel Rivals themed. So like you spray the Marvel Rivals logo, and then there's like the nameplate has one of the heroes in their Marvel Rivals suit or whatever. But I was looking at it, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I like, yes, Sakura, I do see your comment this time. We'll get to it before the show ends. Don't worry. They added this skin. I'm presuming knowing how Volume Dealer communicates. Oh, no, there's no, I would have thought Volume Dealer would have sent me a DM with what it looked like, but if not, we can just look it up ourselves. Oh, you heard. Let's see. Gamora Future Fight skin. Let's check that out. This new one that we're talking about here. Oh, this one's really bad. Like, I have found it. I'm gonna bring it up here for everybody. Ouch. Let me see if I can find like a bigger one. I just want you to show it off for us, please. I don't need all of this. All right, so apparently this guy is going to be our best bet at looking at it. Shout out to streamer Devil Gamer Bros for his stream where he is looking through it. Normally I wouldn't have shouted him out, but because he is on screen and he is streaming, we might as well give him credit. But here we go. This for you, Volume. That is the new skin Volume Dealer is talking about. It is apparently called Wasteland Gamora. Look, I like short pixie cuts. I do. There are lots. I like them on real life women. There are certain characters in the comic books who rock them. Maria Hill is an example of them. Even Daisy Johnson's an example of them. This ain't great. This just looks bad. I don't know. Is there like can I see like a side shot of it? Do you rotate it at all, or are we just gonna like look at the front? Looks like that's all he's really gonna show us of it. But yeah, that's a really bad look. And I'm also not a fan of. Everybody keeps giving her that armor, or like a variant of some sort of armor to distinguish her, and I'm just like, I don't like the Gamora armor look. I really never have. I like this look. I've always been a giant fan of this look, which I'm only getting cosplayers of right now for some reason. But you know what? Cosplayers are cute, but I need, there we go. This will help me. Can I just open up the image? What? I hate Pinterest, guys. Like, I hate the internet. Everything is ruined. Everything is bad. But where can I just get one? All I want is an image to show you guys. Good God, it should not be this hard. This is the, sorry, Devil Gamers, we're done with you. You showed us what we needed to see. But this is the Gamora look I like. Like, I like her. It's not her classic look. It's her like updated 2006 Guardians of the Galaxy look. This is more of what I want to see. Even if you want to go and cover her up or whatever, at least keep this instead of just giving her generic armor. Because especially when you throw her in the armor and give her the pixie cut, now she just looks like generic grunt. Like, just not that great. Oh, you can show. Is there anything on the side? Like, I like, is it like a braid, or that's all I was really asking about. But like, either like nothing on the side is going to make this look amazing or redeem it. But I was just sort of curious on my end. But yeah, that's kind of what we've got for Marvel Rivals. All I really just wanted to talk about it because of the maker and the fact that like they're treating this game really well. I know it's early, and I know I'm probably still in the honeymoon phase, but like, oh, okay, there we go. Volume's got me. I was like, things are lighting up. Who needs me? But it is helpful to our show. Volume dealer. Oh, that's a sick no one. Holy shit. All right. So this is, why can't I just open that image? Yeah, okay, so this is a Gamora in Future Fight from the side. Maybe. Hello? What in the frick? Ugh, I didn't want to go into my DMs, but we might as well. So there is, according to Volume Dealer, there is the side of the Gamora. Nothing there's nothing there. I didn't expect there to be. I just kind of wanted to see if there was. But then Volume Dealer also sent this like, oh, that's Silver Surfer? No, that's Null. Okay, yeah, that is Null. I like this suit for Null. I'm very mixed on Null as a villain. I like him, but I also don't like a lot of what they did with bringing him into the canon. Like, I like the symbiotes as just like a planet of aliens, right? But then once we got to Donny Cates' run and he introduced Null, even though I love Null and all the stories that followed from it, they retconned the planet into being, oh, it's not a planet of symbiotes. It's symbiotes making like a planet-sized cage for Null. And I'm like, that's kind of dumb. I told Andrew on last night's foil variant, like, if they'd have made it so like it was the moon, like, oh, there's Clintar, and then there's a moon, and the moon was Null's prison, I could get more behind that. I just don't like this idea that, I don't know, there's no planet. I like we've talked about this before, but stories of like chosen peoples or like, chosen hero, or you're super special as a race or whatever. I'm not a big fan of those. I very much more like egalitarian natural stories where like, this is life. Like, life would have spawned on another planet. They would have had another like society, whatever, all on their own. And then one of them happens to get away and come to us. That's more interesting than ancient spooky gel. You know what I mean? So, but aside from that, like, I love Null as like a character. He's so cool and his stories are so good. And yeah, I agree with you, Volume Dealer. This is a rad ass model. I always get a little bummed when you talk about Future Fight, whether it's here or on Twitter or wherever, because I played they've got like, okay, I know they've got like 90 different games up. I think it was this. No, I played whatever Marvel one where you could move like actively around the map. Do you remember what I'm talking about? It was a game. It was like an. It's not Future Fight. It's got to be like here. Marvel mobile games. I just gotta remember what the hell it was. I think Future Revolution. That's what it was. I think that's what it. I had played for a little while, but like I played that game, and then I played the DC equivalent of this one, of the Marvel one, and I played that DC one for so long, and I played it during some really good times. I have some really fond memories of it. But so sort of to like, this is a really good like tie into what we were just talking about. The reason I can get so behind like a DC game like this or Future Fight or whatever is because these games tend to do really deep cuts into the comic book world. And that to me shows that like you're making this for comic book people even more so than you are for maybe like the movie fans or whatever. For example, when I was playing that DC one of the last characters I unlocked was that broccoli Green Lantern, the one with like the like eye, like the single eye, like he looks like a minion. Nobody knows who he is. I even forget his name off the top of my head. But he was there and he was a good unit, like a decent one to throw onto your team. And I was like, you guys won me over. The thing that always stomps me like in these mobile games is eventually, as we all know for people who've played these, eventually you get to a point, if you don't pay money, where advancement just becomes a insane, unreasonable slog. Right? Like in that Marvel game, I got to a point where it would have taken me like 6 months of playing just to level up one more time. And I'm like, that's fucking ridiculous. Especially because at the time, I didn't have a lot of money. I was a very broke college kid. And then same thing happened. I was playing for a long time. There was this awesome mobile game called South Park Phone Destroyer or Mobile Destroyer. But basically, it's a game where you... Here, I'll just show you a video because it's easier to explain with a video. South Park Mobile Destroyer. There it is. Yeah, just show me. I just want a match. Just somebody show me a match. Here, whatever. We'll go to your broken deck just so we can see what we're talking about. So this is that game. It was basically like a one-on-one tower defense, where you drop these units down at the bottom, and then they come out and, you choose where to drop them and they'll go forward and they'll try to do their things. This game, lots of deep South Park cuts, as you can probably see just from looking at these cards. Like there's Future Randy, there's Woodland Critters, there's Scuzzlebutt, who we haven't seen in forever. But this game is amazingly fun. It didn't hurt for me personally that it's played via like a card system. But I got to a point where I could not advance or beat anybody unless I started spending money. And I was like, I'm out. Like, I will happily pay for costumes or cosmetics, but I don't like when a game makes me go, oh, you want to actually advance or do better in what you're playing? Got to give us a little bit of money. Like, I won't do that. The only real DLCs I've ever bought are battle passes for like Overwatch, Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, the costume pack for One Piece Pirate Warriors 3. And like I've done like story DLCs, like big actual like packs, but I don't count that. So yeah, like I try to practice what I preach, and I want to move the video game world and creativity back away from microtransactions and this stuff. So I try to not engage with them as much as I can. But sometimes, like, you know what? We're all only human. Sometimes you see a maker skin and you've got to buy your maker skin. Sometimes you are so obsessed with One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 that you are just dying for any additional content to make your game like more exciting. You know what I mean? So again, I'm not without sin. So I'm not going to cast a stone at anybody who does spend this kind of money. I try not to. Yeah. I spend in Future Fight, says Volume Dealer. I barely spent money in Future Revolutions. Oh, that's pretty neat. If you spend a bunch during Black Friday, you're getting bang for your buck. I've actually not seen a game do a Black Friday sale like that. That's really interesting. And if that, I mean, it clearly is the case because you're telling it to me, and why would you lie to me? Like, but if that is really cool, and I would support things more if that were the case. But yeah, overall, I try to avoid doing the money, but I won't ding anybody for choosing to do it on their own, right? Everybody has you. Don't worry about other people's houses. Take care of your own house, right? Lead by example. Don't try to browbeat people, and just try to hang out. Fourth time was the charm. You are here. Timon is back. That is what I like to see, even if we are getting closer to the end of our show than when he was starting to restart. But always happy to have you, buddy. So this is probably a good spot to hit Sakura's what if question. Sakura asks, what if Rita Repulsa killed Tommy Oliver? You know, make Mighty Morphin more like Zeo Ranger. So I don't know specifically which way you're asking this. I don't know if you mean, would I have liked to see that, or do you think it would have been a good idea? So I'll address both. I personally don't know if I would have liked to have seen that myself, because, hold on. I just went on mute real quick because I had to readjust the microphone because I saw it like tilting down. But I liked Tommy a lot. I think in terms of writing, he was a good foil for Jason. Again, I know this is like all child oriented, but seeing Jason's the straight-laced leader, Tommy's the, bad boy, cool guy. But you also see, like, Tommy has failings that Jason can make up for, and Jason has failings that Tommy can make up for. And so I really liked that dynamic. And unfortunately, if we got rid of Tommy that early on, we would have never had one of my favorite scenes, which is from, I forget which specific series it's from, because it's a crossover episode. But, like, Tommy starts walking away after saving the day, and one of the Rangers is like, so that's the great Tommy Oliver. And everybody just like, is like, what? No, Tommy's like, get over it. Like, nah, Tommy ain't that hot. Even, Johnny, Austin St. John, not Tom, Jason is there. And he's like, all he was doing was kissing on Kimberly. I was doing the real work. Like, it's a great scene, and it's one of my favorites, and I would have wanted to keep that in. As for, is this an interesting idea? I think it could, or I think it could be an interesting idea. I don't necessarily need, and this is a personal thing, I don't necessarily need my Power Rangers to be too close to Sentai, because they are so radically different. If we made it closer to Sentai, I would just say, like, hey, give us Sentai dubs, right? Like, that would be way easier. But I think adding an element of really driving home that Rita is evil and a threat, and then giving the Power Rangers an actual, like, sad, grown-up moment to coalesce around, I think a lot could have been done with that. And then, you know what? If we want to be fair, this is Power Rangers, this is fiction. We probably could have found a way to revive him later on if we really wanted to, which there's multiple ways you could have done that. Who cares? Like, Zeo Crystal, I don't know. Maybe the Zeo Crystal just has a lot of life energy. We saw in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie that they were able to revive Zordon by, like, sharing their energy, making a spirit bomb, essentially. So you could have done something like that. But I think, like, Power Rangers was a good show for kids, but it was also, it aired more goofy. It aired on the lighter side. It was not something like the Batman the Animated Series, which did deal with some really heavier things. I think introducing a little bit of that into Power Rangers would have been really good. Really make kids understand that, like, there are dangers out there, but you still go forward and try to do your best no matter what. And that, like, oh, the Rangers are really, really, really under threat here because she just got a Ranger. And maybe if you wanted to be a kid, you could do something like she traps him forever. But there's things you could play with there, especially because, like, the saddest scene, or like the emotional crux scene we got for Mighty Morphin, that was when all the that was when all the Zords died in the volcano. You guys remember that? Like, here, I'll pull that up because it's MMPR Volcano Zords. It's going to give us South Park. Okay. Delete that. Yeah, like right here when they all like final fight. Oh no, they're all dying, and they're all like watching. Like this was, yes, it's an emotional moment because we've grown attached to them, but we would have been more attached if it was Tommy, right? Like a person who actually has a face and a name to it. Let's see. Shinkai says, interesting idea, counter. I liked Tommy in Dino Thunder, so don't want that, but was interested in killing a Pink Ranger in Lost Galaxy. Exactly. That's the part where I'm at too, Shinkai, is like, I definitely recognize that, like, I like Tommy, but I also want to like faithfully answer Sakura Amita's question without letting my like fanboyism get in the way. So I think it would have added a lot if they wanted to do it. You also could have retconned it. It could have been something we played with. Ultimately, the fact that we didn't, I'm not upset. You know, it's not like what could have been. It's just sort of like a fun, what would we have seen if that would have happened, right? So I think things could have been done there. 1,000%. Let's see. Volume Dealer says the bad guys side of Power Rangers felt like HR Puff and stuff, which is a little too bad, right? Like Lord Zed, I think Lord Zed went a little bit like a short way, and that was them trying to get out of that, right? I felt like, you know, Zed has a very scary design. He's much meaner than Rita, especially to like Babu and Finster and all them. And he has more wins on average over the Rangers than Rita. The problem is Power Rangers falls into that, essentially the 1960s Batman trap, right? Where you can't really kill off any of your villains, but you want to keep going in perpetuity. So we start finding dumb ways for the villains to be around, even if it doesn't make sense. And then we kind of just like lose the plot of it. Again, remember, like Sentai, you go one season, done. So they can kill off like Rita or Space Witch Bandora if you want at the very end of that season. When you got to make sure everybody lives, that's where you start getting convoluted and you start defanging everybody. Zed, like, just to point to Zed again, when he's first introduced, I don't want to look at that. Let's just look at this. Whatever. When Zed was introduced, very scary, like I was pointing out. But as we go on, he starts getting flanderized, right? He starts losing his threatening aura because he becomes, he's going to show up, we're going to beat them. Also, he's kind of a joke. And yeah, so that, like, you're not wrong. And I really wish they would have avoided doing things like that. But then again, this is part of that cultural problem in America because of our founding, right? Because we were so puritanical in our founding and so religious, we have a really weird attitude towards, like, both. What am I trying to say here? Because we were like built on such a religious and Puritan foundation. That's why we have such a weird relationship as Americans, society, to like nudity or like scantily clad women or things like that. But then we also have this very, very odd aversion to killing, even if it's like a monster. It's not even, I think that second part is an argument I don't really have fleshed out yet too much, so I don't put too much stock in that. But yeah, it's infantilizing, right? That's probably, while all of what I said, there's validity to it. In America, we very much infantilize everybody, especially as we've gone on in the years, right? Like you guys see the discourse all the time. Oh, a 20-year-old's not an adult. Oh, I can't believe a 30-year-old shouldn't be dating a 50-year-old. She can't make her own decisions. Things like that, right? Like we always try to, in America, especially it's been a rising trend. It's about not being looked at, don't take the bad responsibility. Don't let your image shutter or what. I don't know. It's just, we're really dumb over here sometimes. And a lot of it has to do, you know what? No, wait, that's what I want. This is how my infantilizing point comes together. I lost it a second ago. But when we infantilize our populace and we go, we need to protect them from all of these ills, which comes from our religious background, right? Especially with the evangelical puritanical bent, which makes you go, there's evil everywhere. This bottle cap is evil because it was not produced within 2 square meters of our church or whatever. So we have this thing in America where it's like, we need to protect from the evils because we are so We are the light, we are the beacon, and we need to, protect our peoples from that. And that leads us to getting to these points where it's like, oh, our kids can't handle a bad guy dying in a show, or we can't handle darker themes in shows anymore. I was literally seeing this unfold on Twitter earlier today. Somebody was like, oh my God, has anybody ever read Lolita? We need to ban this book. I can't believe it reads like this. And it's like, that's the point of the book. It's not supposed to be, oh, this is good, I'm endorsing it. But you just, because you were never exposed to anything more than like Coco Melon, you think that we all need to be protected from this. And so censorship hits really hard. Ratings boards hit really hard. It's all bad. Again, this is why I am a very, very, very staunch, pro free speech as far as we can sort of like legally get it, right? Obviously, I don't consider things like child abuse materials. That's not free speech. You are hurting somebody with that. That's an active crime. But, if I want to make a Marvel rival skin where somebody's butt's hanging out, if I want to make a comic book where I'm just super racist all the time, if I want to start talking about how if you find women attractive, you have gay demons, I think everybody should be allowed to do that, even if I disagree. Yes, caveat ties, go big bad Beetleborgs. So that's actually my favorite, even over like the original Power Rangers. I love big bad Beetleborgs. I mean, is it a surprise? Guys, I'm a Beetle guy. Obviously, my name is Kabuto Rider. My favorite Kamen Rider is Kamen Rider Kabuto. So I love not only Big Bad Beetleborgs, but the show it's based on, B-Fighter Kabuto, the like Sentai one. I love it so very much. And like to the point where a couple years ago, Bandai made replicas of the morpher that the Beatles use, like where they put the like little like armor suit in and then the wings like open up. And when I found out about it, it was already way too late. It was already sold out everywhere. And I was like actually emotionally bummed for like 2 actual days about it, which like normally I'd be like, that sucks, I missed it. But I was like, I wanted those. Look, Shinkai, look. All right. But I don't need your actually, all right? Your Shinkai actually, all right? Your little butt over there. Oh yeah, no, Timon, especially compared to the Zords, the death of the whale monster in Kamen Rider Black hit harder. Exactly. And Kamen Rider Black was still made for a younger audience, like not necessarily kids, but like a middle school audience, and they were able to like handle that stuff. This really only hurts when you're real, like a young kid, because I remember being like shocked, but I wasn't like screaming like, no, oh my God. It was sort of just like, what do the Rangers do next? This is crazy. So no, I again, they could have done so much more, and unfortunately they didn't. Let's see what other different clip, just while we're talking. Whatever. Let's just let the teams morph while we're talking here. Yeah, Timon, Dragon Zord is basically Mecha Godzilla. That's why I like the two so much. Like, I loved the Dragon Zord as a kid. Tommy was not my favorite Ranger. It actually was Jason, but I loved the Dragon Zord the most. And I actually have like the Dragon Zord physical toy. It was awesome. And I was always so bummed because it actually could morph and link to the Megazord, but those toys were impossible to find. Yo, did you guys see that? That's awesome. Hold on. White boy Tommy rocking the do-rag over here. Oh my goodness. Like, hell, go white boy, go. That's amazing. Caveat Ty says, oh really? I was just throwing out some randomness. Yes, really, and I know where you were linking from that, but it just happened to be you hit on like the very one that I have a particular affinity for. Yeah, volume dealer. That's the trend we're seeing a lot lately. The everything is Satan, everything is bad. If you're not doing it my way, you're going to hell. We've talked about it before. Essentially, it boils down to these are people who are very, very insecure in their own existence, where they need your approval for what they're doing. And if you're not on the same side as them, if you're not beheld by the same rules of faith, they need you to be. Otherwise, they can't handle it. That's why anytime that's one of my favorite like reaction images. It's a tweet image, but it's like people will really go online and make it your issue that they can't control themselves, like they can't control their urges. Whether it's the super neo-leftist going, we need to censor all this because everybody's going to grow up to be a predator, or it's the super, up their own butt religious right who's going, we need to censor all this, otherwise you're all going to turn gay and lose your souls to Satan. It's all the same shit. It all comes from a place of insecurity and a place of, I need to be validated. I need to make sure that what I am doing is okay. Anybody who ever acts like that to you, like, they are insecure beyond everything. I know so many awesome, like, dedicated Christians. Shout out to my boy J. Jonas Campbell. Shout out to my boy Martin over on Tooneytown TV. These are guys who are super faithful. Like, Jonas talks to me all the time where he's like, I don't even want to look at Stellar Blade because I don't want to be led into temptation. I was talking to Martin last night and he was like, yeah, he was telling me about how he and his wife just recently had a sit down to discuss whether it was appropriate for their sons to play Mortal Kombat. And I respect that. And when I'm streaming with them or talking to them, I want to do my best to respect their religion. I don't want to swear at them. I don't want to do any of that because they're not coming in my face and saying, you need to do what I'm doing. They're just saying, hey, I'm living my life like this. And because I like them and respect them and they respect me back, I'm willing to go, that's cool. I'm not going to be unnecessarily crappy about it. But it's the people who keep bleeding at you that they're insecure. Like, it's just insecurity. They're more often than not new Catholics who just, again, I have nothing to add. It's just, it's insecurity. It's a desire for power. It's them saying you need to make, like, I'm insecure. I don't know if this is right. I don't know if what I'm doing is cool or whatever. I need you to do it so that I know that I'm with the in crowd. If you're confident, if you know who you are, you can say things like, okay, my name is Jonas. Everybody else is going to engage with Stellar Blade. I'm not. Cool. Fine. Nobody cares about that, right? Because, like, it's just the more secure you are in whatever field, the less you'll feel the need to try and get everybody to think your same way, right? Like, it's crazy. Also, fucking hate Justin. This little bastard needs to go away forever. That was so shit. Aliens became ninjas. I know. I did hate that too. Even though, like, the Ninja Rangers and Kaku Ranger are my favorite, like, Sentai and Power Ranger, the whole Aquatarian thing was like a little like, what are we really doing here? But yeah, I love the Ninja Rangers the most. Sakura asks, what if Predator fought in Vietnam War? Hope you remember this week ago. I do remember. Now I remember you asked that somewhere. I don't even remember where specifically you said it, but I remember that question now. I would really, really, really actually want to see this, whether it's a movie, a comic book, a TV series, because Vietnam is a fucking terrifying battleground, guys. With all the traps that the Viet Cong laid out, with all the landmines that the U.S. like left there, it is like Arnold from Predator went and just took over an entire nation and said, come at me, bro. So I think it would be super there are a bunch of ways you can do this. You can either do it a Predator trying to hunt a GI, a Predator trying to hunt a Viet Cong, a Predator, being hunted by a team up of a Viet Cong and a U.S. like Army soldier. So many cool things you can do there. And the traps are already there. And it would be one of those, like, if you dropped a Predator into Vietnam, it would be believable that he would struggle, right? Because we know how fucking crazy that place got. So that's really, really one. Imagine like a Predator getting the poop spike through his legs, right? Or getting the I mean, they probably wouldn't get that close to do it because they'd probably get ripped in half. But like I don't even know what that torture's called, where they put like the needles into your nails and shit. I hate like Vietnam era torture. Like it's so sadistic, and it's also like, on the Viet Cong side, it's so impressive because, like, they're just straight guerrilla. They got no funding. They said, we're just going to put poop on sticks and put some leaves over it. And it's just like, man will find a way. Let's see. We're a little bit over our time here, so we probably won't get to Spider-Man, but we can probably wrap up here. Oh, and just in case anybody's wondering, I realized I didn't really point it out. Our stream buddy for today, it is Magic from the cover of her recent #1 issue for her second solo series, drawn by J. Scott Campbell. It's an okay issue, but I've been really obsessed with this cover for a long time. If you watched Foil Variant, you might recognize it as the thumbnail that we used over there last night. Just a really cool Magic piece. I don't know. There's something about the way Campbell draws Magic in particular, which to me really speaks to me. I mean, where is it? To this day, I've still got, here, I had to get rid of, like, she's on my phone, the X-Men variant cover. She's the one I got there, like hanging out. But yeah, so just to wrap it up here, Volume Dealer says, have to mention Creature Commandos was a complete waste of time. And they said the only thing I liked was Cersei and the look of Dr. Phosphorus. Yeah, what I haven't checked it out. I watched parts of the first episode to write an article about how they changed the Sons of Themyscira. Didn't really find anything there that gripped me. It's very James Gunny, right? It's very James Gunn, almost what do you call it? Like unlimited, and that's not always a good thing. Andrew and I have this running joke a lot when it comes to comic books that like, oh, Al Ewing, Jonathan Hickman, Grant Morrison, we love you. Don't go full Grant Morrison. Don't go full Al Ewing, because sometimes when a creator really lets their, what do you call it? Their stream of consciousness go, things can get convoluted. Things can get really weird. Things can get embarrassing. And I feel like this was James Gunn cranking his team type humor up to like 12. And it didn't work. Partially it didn't work. Partially it was things we've already seen before. So it's a thing that's there, I guess. I'm probably going to guess that it's going to get relegated to like a trivia question where people go, what was the first DCU project? And you go, Superman. And go, Creature Commandos. But I really don't see anything past that. I am very, very interested. The only thing I am interested about it is obviously James Gunn said, actors who voice their characters in a cartoon will play the character in real life in like 98% of cases. So I really want to see that, because that is just a thing we haven't really seen in superhero media, where the same person portrays a character, that same incarnation of a character, even across multiple mediums. That's really interesting to me. If they can pull it off, it will be something where I go like, that was pretty neat. Again, not going to redeem all of what I've seen from Creature Commandos, but it's at least something where we can give credit where credit is due. Hey, Samurai! I like this team. I really do. Yeah, Corey's heading out. He's heading to bed. Don't worry. We are about to get out of here ourselves, my man. I guess I will probably just answer Volume Dealer here. I didn't care about any of the characters, especially at the end. The theme music was awful. Oh, the theme music was really bad. And then I know James Gunn has a talent for like picking music for his productions, right? Like all the Guardians movies, those soundtracks really worked, and so did some of the songs in The Suicide Squad. But again, this one just felt like he went Super Saiyan Omega James Gunn picking music, and it felt like he was picking the music or like he was setting the scene to the music rather than the music to the scene. Do you know what I mean? And so it just didn't work. And yeah, just there's some good moments of animation and it looks really crisp, but yeah, just overall kind of a giant miss. And you know what? I'm not even really seeing anybody talk about it. This was the most attention I think I've seen on a live stream, like a Bounding stream, a Jacob stream, a Cider stream, or whatever, since the show started. So if that's the case, yeah, this thing is going down with a But with that, I think that with the aren't we like done with the Rangers? Oh, we're almost done. But no time for gold. It's probably time for us to get out of here tonight. So guys, as always, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I know that it was a kind of a wonky show with the scattered topics and some of the tech issues, but these will be fixed. Don't worry. I'm completely aware of them. I am here. I'm dedicated to giving you guys a fun show, a good experience. So stay tuned. Hang out with me. hey, keep on keeping on. It'll get better, I promise. But like Yves Guillemot, right? Oh, please hold on, good Mav Ugly writers. We're totally in the middle of doing nondescript revamps that may or may not, improve the quality. But no. Aside from that, guys, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I know we didn't get to Spider-Man, but I'm sure the topic will come up eventually. This also just gives me a little bit more time to properly assemble all of the items I need to yell at specifically when we get to that topic. But yes, aside from that, as always, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Come hang out here next week, same Mav time, same Mav channel for another episode of The Good, The Mav, The Ugly, where we hang out to hopefully give you a good kickoff to your weekend because, like I said at the top of the show, we spend the week waiting and interacting with just the worst bullshit across all of our fandoms. We deserve it to ourselves to remember that there's still some good stuff out there and that we can still have fun and share some laughs. So, hang out next week. I hope to see a bunch of you. If you can't wait to hang out with me until then, Wednesday nights over on the Bounding Into Comics channel, 01 stream, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Me, Cider, Nerdigans, and Jacob. We break down the bigger pop culture news topics of the week. Thursday nights, you can find me over on Foil Variant with Andrew, where we start at 6 p.m. Central time. So that would be 7 p.m. Eastern time. We break down the week's comic books. We give you our thoughts, all that fun stuff. You can also find me sometimes after that show over on Tooneytown TV with Martin, depending it's just if I'm tired or not. Tuesdays, you can find me over on That Game Place, where I hang out with a roving cast of characters, including Marvin the Movie Monster, Jonas J. Campbell, Culture Casino, Stone Loki, who else? I'm forgetting somebody really. Oh, Nolan Thunder, my man. We break down video games. That's at about 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. You can come, or I think that's when it is. 2:30. It's around. Go to That Game Place, hit the button, you'll know. But until then, guys, whether you were watching just in the back, just hanging out, or whether you were commenting like Shinkai and Volume Dealer and Timon and Zero and Corey and Caveat and Andrew was here for a little while and Jacob was here for a little while and Sakura was here for a long while and I swear to God I said Shinkai, but again, let's play the game. Did Mav say Shinkai or Volume Dealer, or did he miss both of them? I think I got both of you guys this time. I really hope I did. But until then, guys, have a great weekend. Go do something fun. Go play something you like. Go read something good. If you want, you can always hit me up on Twitter at Kabuto Writer Mav. There's also a link to the Kabuto Studios Discord down below if you're not already there. But I'm pretty sure most of us here are already in there. If not, come hang out with us. You can talk with me, Shinkai, Volume, Andrew, all the folks you see on this beautiful, beautiful show. And let's see. You know what? I'm not going to subject you guys to me scrambling trying to get a clip that I think would be really funny to play for an ending. So we'll call it for tonight. Get out of here. Go enjoy your Fridays. I will talk to all of you beautiful ladies and gentlemen very, very soon. And until then, take it easy.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him, burned and we'll
I don't
execute
even
him
know
and
who
burned.
that guy is.